Hey! Following the success of the first Jurassic World movie, plans to reboot and rebrand Jurassic Park's extended media went full steam ahead. Toys, shirts, cereal, and children's cartoons were all given the go to switch and focus in on Jurassic World. This was not exactly a good thing in hindsight, but at the time it was a nice break from Jurassic Park's extended identity crisis, which was over a decade long by that point. This, of course, included video games. In addition to a handful of decent park builders, now with a shiny new logo and paint job, Jurassic World produced some VR titles. A couple of these were 3D 360 videos that were eventually released as a singular app. And then they released a standalone, full-length stealth horror game. We'll be talking about those today. But first, the disclaimers. As nearly always, I'll be giving away full spoilers freely but linearly. That's not a big deal for most of this video, as all the story of the VR games takes place between the World movies. If you've seen all of those, then several big reveals won't really matter. Still, if at any point you wish to play these games yourself, then take note of your timestamp, go check out the games, and come back to compare notes. One of the apps is even free, so VR users can check that one out with little hassle. Oh, and as I implied before, these apps both spoil and freely reference the Jurassic World movies. So for the sake of brevity, I'll just assume that anyone watching this video has already seen the first 3 Jurassic World movies. At the time these came out, they revealed some big characters and plot revelations, but now they serve more as a preserved look at what that space between the movies were like. Now, before you walk away thinking you can predict this entire video based on what I just said, I want to assure you that both apps, Aftermath in particular, have their own twists, turns, and original characters that are not just hints at the then upcoming movies. Both offer a fair bit of world building as well, if you'd pardon the pun. Oh, and before I forget, I am aware that there is a VR ride at select Dave & Buster's that is based on Jurassic World. I will not be covering that today. There just isn't enough information available to me at this time to cover it. I'm hoping that VR rides at arcades are eventually emulated on home headsets, so that I may properly review this experience one day. But outside of the Vader Immortal home ports, there isn't much luck in that category. I know some of y'all have been requesting the Skull Island experience and such as well, but at least for now, I can't confidently comment on any of those. Sorry. I will also not be talking about the VR SC Jurassic World experience for similar reasons. iOS emulation is not at a good enough spot that I can download the app and try to make it work, and I refuse to buy an iPhone just for one game. I'll probably cover it in the future. Y'all with iPhones might want to get ahead on preserving the game files for archival. VR games alarmingly often become lost and/or no longer available media. Looking at you, Project Apex! Why did you delist before I can buy you? Why? Anyway, that should about cover it. Settle in because I would like to welcome you to Jurassic World. After it went to shit. Jurassic World VR is a collection of 2 3D 360 videos held in a singular app that was developed by Felix Pauls Studios in conjunction with Universal Studios. Originally released as separate apps per video, they were combined into a now no longer available app simply called Jurassic World. This app was eventually replaced with a nearly identical app called Jurassic World 2024, which is still available as of me writing this script. As far as I can tell, the only differences between the two apps is that the 2024 version doesn't allow you to screen record while the original does. That's it. No resolution or quality improvements, even though the videos are super low res in modern headsets, and the videos become laggy and start to hiccup in exactly the same places. It could be argued that screen recording can make performance issues worse, but I doubt that was the reason Universal, a company infamous for false DMCA claims, made the change. Either way, I grabbed the original app before it was too late. Unlike Project Apex. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the first movie. I'm not kidding when I call these experiences movies or videos, by the way. They straight up have a scroll bar and a pause play button. The first movie is called Apatasaurus. first thing you might notice is the resolution. Well, despite this movie being re-released at least 3 times now, they have yet to clean it up or upscale it. I don't know if they rendered it at this resolution and can't re-render it, or if AI upscaling doesn't work on 3D movies, or what. But this resolution is borderline unwatchable on modern headsets. I honestly think it shows where their priorities lie when even the 2024 release does nothing to help it. Oh well. At least they haven't straight up removed it or anything like that yet. Unlike Project 8, so yeah, not a good start, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't give the movie a watch. We open up on a sleeping Apatasaurus in the forest of Jurassic World. Nearby is a clutch of eggs. For a few moments, nothing much happens. This was likely to give time to the player to adjust their headsets and the space around them. If the resolution didn't give it away, this movie was first made very early in VR technology's timeline, so it is completely understandable that the target audience for this short is people who have never used a headset before. After the audience has had time to settle in, the video begins proper, with a pterosaur flying over. This indicates that this short takes place sometime between the first and the second Jurassic World movies, which will be the case with the other video as well. You might hear some odd voices and static from a nearby abandoned vehicle, but nothing of note can be discerned. It's a distinctively peaceful scene given the setting. Disturbed by the pterosaur's calls, the sauropod wakes up, checks her eggs, and decides to take a bite to eat. Similar to the Dinosaur Island demos, she gets right up into the face of the watcher, hypothetically allowing you to get a good look at the details of her face and the 3D effect. Too bad about that resolution, eh? Or maybe it's a good thing, because her nostrils are disgusting to look at. I was genuinely afraid that she would sneeze on me the first time I watched this. Thankfully, we are spared, for she instead turns her head to look at us right in the eye. Just as you are getting lost in those pretty yellows, she gets distracted with the tree branches above your head. It's a nice moment of establishing scale, and satisfied, the sleepy mother returns to the side of her nest. That was a neat little experience. While it's impressive to see a large animal up close, the short makes a point to stay calm and peaceful throughout. It's possible a new VR user might be intimidated by the beast, but the short holds a level of restraint throughout. No sudden movements, no big teeth, just a sleepy mama lazily guarding her brood-to-be. And that was Jurassic World VR Apatasaurus. In contrast, the blue short is going for spectacle. As a much more blatant ad for Fallen Kingdom, the blue short is best described as a series of dinosaur moments. By that, I mean they break out the dinosaur cliché checklist for this one, but with a Jurassic World coat of paint and, more importantly to me, a 3D VR movie format, the Blue experience does have a bit more to offer in spite of that. We open in on Blue sleeping in the jungles of Isla Nublar. Behind her stretches a clearing, separating where jungle and temperate flora meet. I'll talk about the general design of Blue and the other Jurassic World dinosaurs when I review the movies. She wakes up. The visuals are notably better than the Apatasaurus short, but we are still working with a lower resolution than what the Quest headsets were meant for. We follow Blue forward a bit before she makes a little stank face that should be impossible for a non-mammal and runs off into the jungle. The object of her ire appears to be a butterfly. Or rather, the baby Triceratops chasing it. This tiny trike toddler is off on its own, and in a halfway believable setting, this would spell its doom. I would say that Blue is hungry and hunting this trike, but instead, she just angrily stares at it. Seriously, what the hell are you doing, Blue? Ah, see? That's why you don't just stop and stare at your food. Seriously, how did she survive this long? Either way, Blue knocks off the pterosaur, but this allows the baby Triceratops to escape. As Blue laments how useless she is without human caregivers, we hear a ominous rumble. We fade to black. You can tell there was originally a break here, but the final release is a singular video, so we'll carry on. As we fade back in, we are in the ash-heavy fields near the cliff drop as shown in Fallen Kingdom. You would think this amount of ash would kill everything this close to the volcano, but the volcano rant and how dumb it is will be saved for the movie review. For now, let's check back in on Blue. We wander through the thick fog to scavenge what we can. We pass a clean skeleton of a Spinosaurid, potentially the Spino from Main Street, and the remains of an original Jurassic Park Jeep, likely the ones from the movies. Neither makes sense being here, but neither does Blue. Not only does she not know how to hunt, but she actively goes towards natural disasters. Well, I guess it pays off, since she comes across an unguarded nest of eggs. Okay, so the mother is likely still around. If Blue is quick, she can grab one in her hands and eat the rest there and... She stares at it. Again. Blue! Eat it, goddammit! It doesn't even have cute baby plot armor like the trike! Just eat it! Ah, see? This is why you're hungry, Blue. Blue and the Baryonyx start up a screaming match, and this pisses off the neighbors. Ooh, Rexy's here. Much better. Okay, so let me give you a picture of the spatial map of this movie. Let's say you're here. Blue, for the majority of this experience, has been here. Sometimes she'll be here, as the plot demands. But a vast majority of the time, she'll be right at your side. Not exactly refuting the scaly dog comparison, is she? As you can tell, this removes a lot of the potential scare or even majestic factor she might bring. Makes sense considering this short is about her point of view, but it still stops most of any wow factor she might bring. A wow factor, I might add, that even the Apatasaurus nailed down. Okay, so what about the Baryonyx or Pterosaur? Well, they stand roughly here and here relative to you. Both are a relatively far distance from you. They also never face you, but rather Blue, who is never standing where you are. Rexy is the exception. This old girl brings that wow factor this short was desperately needing. Up until this point, it felt like you were watching a screen you are safely behind. With one Tyrannosaurus roar, that all flies out the window. Suddenly, you are there, as you should have been from the beginning, and Rexy is tired of everyone's shit. Oh my god, was the baryonyx just paper mache the whole time? Gonna be honest, gonna have to take some points off for that. Sorry kaiju fans, but weightlessness always throws out all immersion I have for any movie fight. Anyway, Blue takes offense to this for some reason and hops onto Rexy. I am now thoroughly convinced that Blue is too dumb to live. Rexy tosses her off, and rather than just eat her, the two just start screaming at each other. It gives us an excuse to get another Rexy roar, but I have lost all hope for some actual stakes. Speaking of, this whole scene is interrupted by the helicopters of the movies flying by, presumably to weave into the events of the movie. Rexy and Blue act like animals rather than kaiju for the first time since Jurassic Park 3, and walk away now that the mood is ruined. Even now, no one claims the unguarded eggs or the knocked out baryonyx, so I guess the entire fight was for nothing. But whatever. We fade to black as Blue watches the helicopters disappear over the horizon. And that was Jurassic World VR Blue. Ugh, that was rough. Not a good, jank adding to a game's unique experience kind of rough, but that was a lot of effort for relatively nothing kind of rough. I guess these make okay first-time demos for new VR users, but I've already covered multiple better free experiences, including 2 with dinosaurs. I can see maybe an extreme Jurassic World nerd getting something out of this, but even then, these are all events and characters we've seen before. I don't regret watching these movies, and they aren't exactly asking for a lot of your time, but a vast majority of people are better off watching one of the 360 video recordings available on YouTube. Maybe if there were more of these videos, kind of a proper video library sort of app, I could see these being worth it. But overall, you're not missing too much if you watch these on a flat screen or skip out entirely. That, or made them proper interactive video games. And that, I suppose, brings us to our main course for this video. Jurassic World Aftermath is a 2020 VR stealth horror game developed by Coastsink Software with association with Universal Studios and published by Oculus Studios for the Oculus Quest line. While compatible with Quest 1 and 3, it was developed with Quest 2 in mind. It was originally meant to be released as a single-part game, but the 2019 plague forced the team to release the game in 2 halves. This had an overall positive effect on the final product, allowing the team to incorporate and flesh out ideas that were originally minimized or removed altogether. Part 1 was released on December 17, 2020, and it makes up the majority of the story. Part 2 was released on September 30th, 2021, and while shorter, it is a notable step up from Part 1, with a greater variety in dinosaurs, mechanics, and environments. Both versions are now sold together as the single product of Jurassic World Aftermath Collection, which is also the form later ports would take. My opinion of the game is heavily mixed, mainly due to the choice of art style, which is purposely low-detailed in favor of a style that emulates comic books. I'll go into detail of that later, but for now just know that if they changed just that one factor, the game would likely be one of my favorite on the system, despite plenty of other additional flaws. I think the best way to explain my stance on the game is to break it down scene by scene. So, without further ado, let's jump into the game. Whenever we start a new game, we are brought to a menu space and given a basic tutorial along with comfort and accessibility settings. I actually like this for a VR game. VR controls don't exactly have a standard like a flat screen game, and it would be weird if the adult man you played as didn't know how to turn, crouch, or sprint. And while you're here, why not adjust the settings? Naturally, I promptly disabled all comfort settings, but the game offers standard settings for VR. You can change the strength of border vignettes, limit your movement directions, turn on city mode, which locks your character to a standard height of about 6 feet or so, and of course, switch between smooth and snap turning. Needless to say, the game doesn't work with teleport movement, so very early beginner VR users might have a bit of adjustment to do. But the game does really well at catering to mid to expert VR players. Speaking of, I want to make sure I take a moment to congratulate the game on on how it handles colorblind settings. I'll probably repeat this explanation regularly on this channel, but a vast majority of games with colorblind modes do it all wrong. Using tools meant for development, many companies will tint the colors to simulate the various forms of colorblindness. This doesn't help anyone. Colorblind people see the world through, quote, default colors every day. And tinting said colors to emulate their blindness is not only seeable by most colorblind individuals, but insulting and unhelpful. The idea of colorblind modes is to make UI and other interactable objects that might be invisible or hard to see for colorblind people more visible. Speaking of, most games don't even need a colorblind mode. If an individual can play a game from start to finish in grayscale, then any individual with any flavor of colorblindness probably can too. So, how does Aftermath handle its colorblindness modes? Exactly how anyone should, with very minimal changes to very specific UI elements. I'll have comparisons on screen, but most changes are adjustments to the green or red puzzle colors to colors and shades that would be more visible to their specific colorblind mode. And even then, puzzle types introduced in Chapter 2 completely remove dependence on color, and thusly no changes are even needed. I very specifically wanted to point this out to all you guys, so y'all would see exactly what a colorblind mode should be. Please take note, future game developers. Alright. Now that we've learned the basics of movement and have adjusted our settings, let's start the game proper. We fade in on the interior of a small cargo plane. We're in the back, allowing for plenty of room if the player needs to further adjust. Additionally, the pause menus and death screen also allow you to move around a bit, so the player can pause to adjust as much as they need at any point in game. Our employer and pilots are up front hailing us through a speaker, so whenever the player is ready, just press the speaker button to begin.
Hello? Hey Sam, it's Mia. Great timing. I just wanted to check in before landing. You met the pilots, right? Say hello.
Hey, I'm Carlos. You're right back there. Come on, do not distract me.
So, yeah, we're Sam, an engineer and mercenary. There actually isn't that many details in-game about Sam. He's silent, though it's hard to tell if that's diegetic or not, and he was hired by an ex-InGen geneticist, Amelia Everett. We don't get any backstory on him, and you wear gloves the entire game, so we don't even have hands to go off of. If you turn on seated mode, the camera locks at roughly 6 feet, so there's that, I guess. This is great for immersion, but if the player is truly curious, they wouldn't have much to go on.
Mia, we're approaching the South Shore.
Isla Nublar. It's like coming home. Okay, Sam, let's get you geared up. Look on the table. I left you a body cam.
This is our tutorial to pick up objects. Simply put your hand into position and press the grip buttons. Any hand will do, but you have to make sure the in-game hand locks onto the item first. I'm honestly pretty iffy about any VR removing control from the player in regards to their own hands. In this physics-less game though, the hands will be completely removed from the player's control in order to lock into position to grab items or use in-game controls. Trying to remove your hands from these positions feels like pulling it out of tar, but it works well enough if you're following what the game wants. I wouldn't even dwell on the system if it didn't occasionally cause problems. There were several moments where I thought I was doing an action, but wasn't, because I wasn't touching the sweet spot needed for the hands to lock on. There were also moments where I was just waving my hand and groping the air, just trying to find a lock-on activation. Between this and the zero vibration feedback for holding items tells me this development team wasn't really aware of VR player feedback standards, as few as there may be. This paragraph was probably only understandable to other VR players and literally no one else. Anyway, we grab a body cam so Mia can watch us go to the bathroom. Talk in our ear about whatever is happening.
Perfect, that's attached. That camera's connected to my tablet. It's It's like looking straight through your eyes.
We are then instructed to grab a detached door handle, which just disappears into our uncheckable inventory, and magically reappears when we lock onto the door's ghost handle. In other words, the inventory works on an unlock system, and using items involves miming what you need. Lock-ons, lock-ons, lock-ons. No smashing a door handle on a raptor's head, you can't even grip it properly. We fixed the door, and the story continues now that the item tutorial is over.
Iniciando descenso.
Okay, Sam, we'll be descending low over the NMS Center and landing at the North Dock. Our pilot respectfully reminds us that Isla Nublar is still under quarantine. We've got 1 hour to enter the lab and recover the genome.
Mia.
Once the dinghy's loaded, it's straight back for takeoff, scheduled no later than...
Mia.
What?
Look. They're huge.
Pteranodons. Okay, just relax. They're not about to... Oh, shit!
Direct the gully. Mia, get the chutes.
I'm trying. Shit, how many do we have?
I don't know. Go ahead. Get them all. What are you doing? Understand? Where was esto?
Sam, get your parachute. I've opened the locker.
These are our first look at both prehistoric animals and the Jurassic World pterosaurs. Toothy pteranodons to be exact. Sorry paleo nerds, this is Jurassic World, which is far more a kaiju franchise than an actual sci-fi at this point. Either way, we'll get a much better look at the pterosaurs in a couple of later sections, so we'll move on for now.
Sam, get your parachute. The locker's open. It's empty. Damn it, useless freak. Mom's gonna land. Just hold on.
Mia, get out of the way. Jump.
No! If Sam stays, so am I!
No. You're not.
Ah!
Carlos. Hijo de perra. Son, brace yourself.
Welcome to Jurassic World. The plane is trashed, and bits of it are on fire, but at least Juan and Sam have both survived. Juan seems to be trapped in the front, and we're trapped in the wreckage of the back. Believe it or not though, we have much bigger things to worry about.
Something you like back there? Hey! I'm stuck! Hey! No! ¡Ayuda! ¡Help!
It's not exactly a secret that this place has dinosaurs. The big girl's exit knocks over the cargo door, freeing us. Conveniently, we've landed right where we wanted to go, the NMS Genetics Center. This is where Mia and a few other interesting names did their work, and we just crashed a plane through its front door. Moving through the wreckage, we make our way into the navigational hub of the game. This central rotunda will act as our location select screen. Most Most of the levels connect here, and we'll be passing through at some point both before and after almost every story segment. There's a chance a non-hostile creature will appear, though they'll either run away on seeing you or otherwise keep their distance. Despite screenshots in the App Store, neither the Raptors or the Rex can enter this area. But if you get close to the soon-to-be-locked entrance door when no other animal has spawned, then you might hear Rexy or some similar animal calling out into the night. That in mind, my favorite random spawn event in this area is the Compy drug dealing bust. Speaking of compies, one shows us a vent we can slip into. It leads us to some back rooms, and despite the horror tropes and fan-familiar sounds, nothing attacks us in this section. Using a surprisingly old-fashioned lever, we open up both the back room door and the door to operations. Take note that once you enter operations, the side rooms you just went through will be closed off for the rest of the game, which is kind of weird because almost all the later areas can be returned to at will once unlocked. But I digress. We enter operations and are given an update on our employer.
Sam! Oh, I see you. Hold on, let me move. Shit! Fine, I'll sit on the floor. Sam, look around. Let me see where you are. Operations. Good, you're safe in there. I'm in the Cebu West service bunker. I tripped the alarm. They probably heard the siren in Costa Rica. I think my knee is broken. I can barely move. When I landed, my chute got caught and... We need to get a message out. No one knows we're here. I paid a fortune to make sure. First, we need power. Find the breaker room.
Conveniently, the breaker room is directly connected to the main operations room.
It's 1967. Ms. Ronnie's birthday. That sounds promising. Back to the console.
Now that we have power, we can see the computer has a main monitor, some just for show useless camera feeds, and most importantly, a map of the facility. Most of our early levels will be pretty straightforward, but later levels will occasionally branch off of the earlier ones, so having this map might come in handy later. Under Mia's instructions, we head back to the breaker room. In the second breaker room is the switches for all of our future levels, giving us a diegetic reason for those sections being locked for now and unlocked later. I won't lie, there is a small joy in pulling one of these levers. Feels like you're reenacting the Ellie in the power station scene from the original movie a little. For now, we pull the transport lever.
It's gonna be tough keeping this place locked down. There's not much power.
In the storeroom is a little box with a fingerprint scanner. Despite it being locked to us before, and we're wearing gloves, it opens now to a finger scan.
Yes, that's it. Attach it to your wrist.
Yeah, between certain items and all the area loading doors, there is a lot of hand and finger scanning in this game, despite Sam wearing work gloves for all of it. Oh well, we grab the little gizmo and slap it on the back of our left hand.
Check the arrow on the back of your hand. It'll point wherever you need to be.
This little doodad is our general UI. It has a fairly good objective arrow and a stamina bar. It'll get more features later, but the arrow is all you'll need for now. Ready to go? We return to the atrium and then head on to transport. Our goal is to get to the ranger station a bit in and establish contact with the outside world. The entrance has a nice long fixture you can hide under, a blocked door, and pterosaurs flying over your head whenever you enter. In fact, they'll fly over whenever you enter any open roof area. Well, believe it or not, the large number of pterosaurs hanging around nearby is story relevant, so I'll leave that alone for now. To open the locked door, we need to use this console. We'll be seeing these consoles around the game, and I think they're meant to be manual generators for emergency doors? Either way, awkwardly rotate this wheel to build up a charge, and then press this button to power the door open. Like other mechanics, we'll have fun with this idea later. Passing through the door, we continue on through into the transport management rooms. It's quickly clear this area housed most of the local maintenance and similar blue-collar workers. To support this, according to Mia, the rangers were more glorified gardeners than park rangers.
The Ranger Depot. I never came here. It was one of 6, 7 stations on the island. Rangers took care of the roads, fences, trees, the stuff the public never thinks about.
Too bad this place doesn't have a security station to turn this game into an FPS. Either way, we pass through a workroom, travel through one of the many comedically large vents in this game, pop out into a bathroom, and pass through a very scenic hallway with a window to an outdoor atrium. There's a locked door, but if we continue down the hall, we'll come to a room with a large pteranodon statue. On the statue, it incorrectly states that pteranodons were discovered in 1870, rather than 1871. And that is important, because this is the only keypad lock number the game expects you to actually memorize. Seriously, why bother with players using keypads if the numbers are in big bold font over each lock? Either way, I'll explain the pteranodon door later. For now, we need to break up the compy fight happening on the statue. Yeah, I assumed the albino compy was important, or at least would return later in the game. But with exception of the game's gallery, the albino compy never appears again. No story beats, no telling us the location of Dr. Comper's evil lab, just this one scene of normal morphs bullying the albino. Even though I'm convinced she's working for Dr. Compers, we need to move on. We pass by Chekhov's monorail, charge open another shutter, pass by some oddly 70s coffee room, past the door the Pteranodon code is for, but again, we'll get to that, and through a bunch of rubble and another vent. Phew, there's the ranger station. Now, we need to get to the comms tower. Unfortunately, everything is still locked up. Best we could do now is use the Jeep's depots to loop around the other side to the tower. Hey, we've somehow gotten this far without any enemies attacking. The compies are harmless, the pterosaurs are outside, all we've had so far are cutscenes and spooky noises. Let's fix that.
Hear that? The locker! Get in, now!
Funny enough, you can take all the time in the world here and the Raptor won't break through, but let's humor the game for now. Move past the Raptor. You can alert her to your presence. But this tutorial is easier than even the rest of the game, so go ahead and move on. A brief tutorial later, and we escape through the vent. Mia decides to spill the beans.
I'll level with you. The NMS Center, we worked on the Raptor code, using gene suppression to modify behavior. And a portion of that involved live trials. We bred 3. The growth was inhibited. They were just for internal testing. No one outside of the center even knew. Not Hoskins, not Owen. And sure as hell not the public. Look, hate me later. Right now, just keep moving.
What? The genetic center with a raptor fossil as its symbol was breeding raptors? Who would have guessed? Mia acts like this is not only a secret, but also some great sin. She seems to have forgotten what the park was known for. Conveniently, the vent leads out to the equipment storage.
Tech storage. Look around. Bet there's something you can use.
Sure enough, lit up by the lights of heaven, because seriously, where is this light coming from? Is the equipment box holding our salvation?
There it is. The virtual interface. It's a prototype built by InGen. Masrani wanted to roll them out to staff, but it got stuck in development limbo. That'll let you connect to all kinds of stuff around the center. Panels, computers, plus it turns on things at a distance. Kind of like a remote.
We are now officially a technomancer. Using our magic watch, we can activate items from a distance. Very specific items. Even if there's no power in the area. Okay, yeah, it's the tool we'll use to do whatever the story tells us. Better not ask too many questions, because it'll really cut down the time we'll have to wait for the raptors to move. See, as the raptors are patrolling around looking for us, we can use this little gizmo to activate various items around the space to lure in the raptors. While distracted, they'll be hyper-focused, allowing us to move past them with relative ease. It can also be useful to identify where the raptor is, so you don't blindly walk into them when entering a room. Your limitation on this is a basic cooldown timer, visible on the back of your right hand. The pointer used to select items to activate isn't visible to the raptors, by the way, so feel free to shine it into their faces whenever you're bored waiting for them to leave. Funny enough, the tutorial action to learn this mechanic is on a power box to open the supply room door. Only these boxes are not usable objects anywhere else in the game, so you'll learn two things with this action, but one is incorrect. Oh well. Your new gizmo also allows you to open doors, as deemed worthy by the story. Seriously, there will be several times a door can't be activated until the story says otherwise later. Activating a door or computer will start up a mini puzzle of sorts. First of these we'll come across are these Simon Says panels. Watch the pattern and repeat the pattern. Like all the other hacking puzzles, it's easy, but you'll need to be able to do this with raptors around soon. Getting a puzzle wrong will boot you out, and you'll have to start over, but no alarm goes off or anything else to attract the raptors. Heading into the garage, we come across our next mini puzzle. Just press the button to the times of the shapes lining up. Do it 3 times, and that's it. I've always been bad with timing stuff, but this is probably nothing to most players. Heading in, it seems we have company.
Damn. She's not gonna budge. Try the virtual interface assist. Can you distract her with anything?
This is more tutorial. This time for the previously mentioned raptor distraction mechanics and dangerous door openings. One elevator ride, and we're finally at the comms tower. Deep breath. Check out the Brachiosaurus out the window. What a peaceful night. Okay, flip the power. It's time to get to work.
That computer. Maybe it's still on the LAN. Try using the VI assist.
Using the VI Assist, we open up the main computer via our newest hacking puzzle. Yes, I'm sure you've noticed how much I'm stretching the definition of puzzle for these. And hacking as well. This sort of a puzzle is to turn the dial until the angry red turns to a calm green. That's it. Do it 3 times and we're in. Would you believe this game advertised itself as being a puzzle game? Anyway, now we have access to a couple emails about how alarmingly overpowered the VI tool is, a download button, and a read out diagnostic button. Hit the download button, which will transfer some audio files. That alerts Mia to magically make the diagnostic button work.
First, run a network diagnostic. There should be an option. Okay, local antenna. Not aligned. Great start. Hop on the antenna controls.
To realign the array, use the big machine behind you. Yeah, you've probably done one of these before. Fiddle around with everything until it's all lined up and happy.
Okay, that's doing whatever that does.
Back to the computer!
There are signal amplifiers in the station. Adjust them, we should be in business. Downstairs. It's okay, you've got this.
Okay, can do. Just head back down into the now active Raptor zone and use your little arrow compass to hot-cold vibrate your way to each device. The 3 things you need are these wall-mounted monitors. They line the trail of a Raptor pathway, but using the generous number of wall speakers, you can easily distract it long enough to get where you need to. In order to lock in on the frequency, just turn the knob until the red bar turns green and the monitor static goes away. Completing the alignment will attract the Raptors, but ducking into one of the abundant hiding spots will be enough to avoid harm. The only real challenge here is the fact that the Raptors sprint back to the start of the path after each walkthrough, which means a keen ear is needed to keep track of the Raptors' whereabouts at any given time. If you hear her run, hide, because she will definitely run past your location. Despite taking us all the way to engineering and back, the area to search is relatively small, so now is the time to master the Raptor gameplay. With all 3 frequencies locked, head on back to Comms Tower. We have to realign the antenna, but we are rewarded with some info on our employer.
Perfect, it's syncing. Listen, I want to play one of those files you sent. You deserve to know why we're here, what happened, and why I came back. For better or worse.
NMS Projects Review, July 10th, 2012. In attendance, Dr. Henry Wu and...
Oh, Amelia Everett, computational genomicist. Sorry.
Under Dr. Mashir, you're mapping the Velociraptor genome. Tell me about that.
Finished as of this week. Proceeding with protein isolation and live trials. We recently hatched a subject with elevated mesotocin, the social hormone. The AV tests are going well.
She's responding to conditioning?
Yeah. Yes. So far.
Interesting. Forget Dr. Mashir. From now on, you report directly to me.
Seriously? I mean, yes, Doctor. You know, you're nothing like I imagined.
I just know talent when I see it.
Wow, you sound so young.
Okay, so when Mia was starting out here, she showed potential and Dr. Wu recognized it, so he switched her to his team, which was likely a prestigious position, all things considered. It seems Mia has some regrets there, but so will Dr. Wu. And trust me, these recordings don't do Mia any favors. I'm getting alarmingly close to spoilers though, so let's move on.
Offline? How can... There's no fixing that. If the island tower's down, no matter what we do... Get back to the atrium. I'll think of something.
Whoops! With not much we can do in terms of establishing communication with the outside world, we head on back to the ops room. That's easier said than done though. Remember when I described that scenic hall looking outside? Good news is that the weirdly 70s break room now serves as a connection between the halls of this area, which will likely shave some time off your leaving. Bad news is that the Raptors have smashed the glass leading outside and are now patrolling this very small area. Honestly, this is a surprising jump in difficulty for this early in the game, as the door leading out requires you to magic it open while the Raptors are feet away. What's worse is that the vent they enter and exit with each path walkthrough is right behind you. meaning they can come down on top of you if you take longer than a few seconds. This is also where I learned to hate lockers, as I found myself trapped in one for what seemed like ages, while I waited for my window to move, while being completely unable to see where the Raptor was for most of her path. Once you get past the door, don't celebrate too early. Until you press that loading panel, you're fair game. Considering the Raptors will be our main enemy for nearly the entire game, I think they deserve a dedicated segment to break them down. There are 3 Raptors in all. In my Let's Play, I named them Stephanie, Bethany, and Felicia. For the sake of this review though, I'll refer to them as Silver, Green, and Yellow respectively. Thanks to store page screenshots and her early presence, I started the game under the assumption that Yellow was the leader of the 3. However, the story will eventually appoint Silver to that role. With exception of specific sections, all 3 Raptors act with the same AI and are interchangeable. The general behavior also stays roughly the same throughout the game, though the difficulty very slightly increases in the second chapter and is completely replaced in the final sections. I'll cover those changes as they happen, so let's look at the behaviors used for the majority of the game. It's alien isolation, but entirely too easy. Yeah. First off, if you are hiding when they enter the room, they can't see you. It doesn't matter if you hide in a closed locker or are blatantly in front of them under a tall desk. They won't see you. They could look you directly in the eye. You can grab their tail and tickle their toes. You can sprint right in front of them and dive into a vent a foot away from them. They won't see you. This gets a little better later, but for a vast majority of the game, the act of crouching in the entrance of a vent makes you invisible. This is extra funny because the Raptors literally use the vents to teleport from one area to another. You're telling me that if the vent has a cover, the Raptors can enter and move around at faster than running speeds, but if there isn't a cover, they can't pass the entrance? If a Raptor detects you, a small sound effect will play. They will then investigate the area you were in when the sound played. For most of the game, hiding anywhere will be enough for them not to find you. You can hide under desks, in vents, or in closed lockers. Under a desk or in a vent allows for quick movement, but if a Raptor knows you're there, they can grab you. A locker has to be closed and can even make a noise as you open them, but once the door is closed, a Raptor cannot attack you. Tall lockers also allow you to stand or crouch as you see fit. It's a pick your poison sort of deal, but I greatly prefer the free movement and better visibility of the desk and vents. If a Raptor sees you, with or without the investigation warning, the screen will turn red and the chase is on. The first time I played this game, I was under the assumption that once seen, the Raptor would be too fast to avoid, and I would generally just accept my fate. But on my second playthrough, I realized that the Raptors have a relatively long freakout animation on discovering you. This, plus the time it takes for them to reach you, is more than enough to bail the scene and hide in a safe spot. Safe spots are closed lockers, deep desks, tunnels, and vents. Most desks will be too small to allow you a safe distance from the Raptor, but if 2 desks are next to each other or the gap is in a larger structure, then you could do a short Tom and Jerry routine until the Raptor gets frustrated and leaves. This is probably my favorite way to deal with the Raptor, and on my second playthrough, I was taunting and teasing the Raptors on a regular basis to have a bit of fun. To put it nicely, they're kind of dumb. In a Mashable interview shortly before the game's release, Brian Gomez, the executive producer for Universal Games, said that during production the Raptors were too smart, and even after dumbing them down, he expects people to die often in the beginning, until they start to understand the Raptors' AI. I'm sorry, but your testers need to get better at stealth games. If you've played any horror stealth game before this, then you'll probably find this game too easy in comparison. The Raptors, when they don't know where you are, enter a patrol state that is either very strict and unadapting, or is easy to manipulate by the player. Most areas will have a set path the Raptor will slowly walk through. At set points, it'll do a small animation, such as a sneeze. It will then continue down the path to the next set point. Once the Raptor reaches the end of a path, it will either enter a vent to teleport back to the start of the path, or it will simply just run there. Rinse and repeat. To call it predictable and mind-numbingly slow is an understatement. If you need to wait for a Raptor to leave a room, its incredibly slow path walking will force you to wait 5 to 10 minutes easy. In certain areas, such as set story moments, the game tries to shake up this pattern a little, and I'll get into the fine details when we reach those sections. For now though, I'll say that when they do try a different AI pattern than the pathway patrolling, the player can manipulate where the Raptor goes next by facing certain directions or hiding in specific spots. So, what is the ideal way to deal with the Raptors then, if treating them like a normal stealth enemy is incredibly boring? Well, fortune favors the bold. A lot. If you walk past any given room or major section, there is an excellent chance you will miss the Raptors entirely. If you know where you're going, just go, and you'll likely reach it no problem. The game does have several objectives that force you into the open for periods of time, and most segments will set the Raptors onto the local pathways as if they magically know you are there. But the time it takes for them to catch up will give you a decent window to do what you need and bail. Just don't sprint, as that automatically alerts the Raptors to the last spot you sprinted in, unless of course you sprint right into a vent. You even get a nice slide out of it. If you ever wonder if an area has Raptors or not, so you can start moving fast for instance, then look out for lockers as they only appear in story areas or to hide from enemies. It actually spoiled some areas for me the first time I played, as the ambient Raptors and the vent noises play in several safe areas and vice versa, so you can tell when the game wants you on edge or not, even if it's a lie. Returning to the story, we head back to the ops room. Mia is trying to think up a plan on what to do next, so Sam has left a moment to breathe. Using the computer in the sleeping quarters, we can hear the next Mia audio recording.
NMS Behavioral Genomics Review, June 2nd, 2013. We cover plenty in our weeklies. Is there anything you want on the record?
What did Masrani say?
Excited by the progress. In fact, he signed off on the operant security measures for...
Yes, I knew it!
Let me finish. For a trial installation here at the NMS Center. He also approved inhibiting the growth of 2 new assets, providing...
They're kept out of public view just like the last one. No problem. Is that it? No... congrats? The behavioral program...
exists under my supervision. I'm not having this discussion again. You want to lead a team? Then lead. And stop vying for attention. Oh, let me turn this off.
Before you say it, I know.
Oh, we're doing that, are we? Alright. For now, just know that Mia is desperate for praise by the higher-ups, despite already being in a prestigious position, and Wu as the department leader isn't happy about it. This is expanded upon later, but for now, I'll just say that these recordings ruined Mia for me. Expect a rant.
I know, okay?
Mia has a plan. We're going to contact Lockwood Manor via a private channel. But first, we need to restore power to the labs. We're going to turn on the main power for the building. Now, for some insane reason, the geothermal power plant for the area is directly past the residential area. Very questionable floor plan, but so is having a small thermal plant attached to the building, rather than a large plant somewhere else on the island, to power everything at once. I was half expecting there to be a flat-out flowing lava river like Fallen Kingdom or the Telltale game, but at least they refrained from that highly unrealistic trope. Saved me time on the being anywhere close to lava will kill you talk. Anyway, we flip the breaker and take the elevator to residential. But wait, the building already has power, otherwise how could we use the breakers, computers, elevators, various distraction devices? Immediately on entering residential, Mia starts waxing on about her early 20s, but way more importantly, we can hear the Raptors wrecking shit in the next room.
Welcome to my entire late 20s. The elevator is in the security room, past the help desk. You'll find it.
The residential area is significantly larger than transport, housing the cafeteria, multiple gift shops, a tech store, a secondary lobby, staff housing, luxury suites for investors, and the previously mentioned geothermal plant, the last three of which are entirely new areas in their own right. Our first task is to traverse the cafeteria while a raptor patrols the area. While the area is intimidatingly large, there are more than enough hiding tables and wall speakers to traverse comfortably. There's even a couple shops to duck in should you need them. Making it to the kitchen side and ducking to the right, we quickly find the reception rooms leading into the geothermal levels. However, one of the doors is locked with a keypad, and we need to find the code for it.
Crap, what's the pin? Maintenance change their codes monthly. They sent an email. Check the terminals over in residence. Maybe the VI Assist will find something.
So now we need to exit the other way of the kitchen side of the cafeteria. The next room has a fun hiding spot that not only has plenty of room to tease a raptor with, but several exits to aid you in your Looney Tunes skit. Unfortunately, there are no other hiding spots like this in the game, so get your raptor bullying mastered here if you need to practice. Franchise fans can get something out of this room too, as not only is there a large T-Rex head mounted on the wall, but there's a gift shop loaded with merchandise referencing franchise favorites such as the Mosasaur. While a raptor can potentially interrupt your window shopping, there's a vent behind the counter you can easily duck into until she leaves. Just beyond an office room is the residential crossroads. There is an elevator to the corporate suites, but we can't go there yet. For now, we can investigate Residence Block A or B. I'll give them kudos on the environmental design here. Each room feels lived in, with different personalities coming through, both through the furniture left behind and the emails on their computers. There's a room with a decent home gym set, a room with hydroponic plants stolen from the labs, a math nerd complaining about his neighbor's loud music, and so on. There's a couple rewards for exploring these rooms, but for now we need to check each room until we find one with an email containing the PIN number. Once we have it, we can head back to the keypad and continue to the geothermal plant's elevator.
Okay, while we wait, there's another recording I need you to hear. I'm not proud, but I'm not proud.
Now really isn't the time.
Behavioral Genomics Review, July 7th, 2014. Where would you like to begin?
Incubation, Thursday. Mesrani was standing right there.
Simon has a very tight schedule. I didn't want to distract him.
What, with an introduction? A handshake? My name, maybe?
He loves our work. The whole department shown. Why does it matter?
I deserve it! My work on non-coding identifiers was exceptional.
It's supposed to be. This isn't a science fair. Exceptional should be the benchmark. The innumerable projects I manage, They form a paradigm shift in mankind's understanding of the natural world. But you want what? A parade for doing your job?
Some recognition.
Then here it is. Behavioral Genomics Review, July 7th. Where would you like to begin?
Was I really asking for the world?
Yeah, actually. Mia, you're kind of an attention whore. Wu does give you recognition and has even rewarded you for your efforts. But you're pissed that the big man-child of an owner wasn't introduced to you personally? You serious? You want Sam to hear these. You being childish that you're not getting an unrealistic and unusually high level of recognition because you made 3 raptors dumb, blind, and hyper-focused to the point of detriment? Seriously, if the 3 raptors of this game were loose beyond the building, they would probably die from overstimuli distracting them from danger or hunger. And Mia wanted a fucking medal for that?
Oh, timing.
Elevators here.
Office.
The Geothermal Plant is my favorite area of Chapter 1, simply because it drops the raptors in favor of a different enemy with new mechanics in a very dark environment. It's extremely welcome in this monotonous first half of the game. Opening the elevator, we see fine, but there are already spaces with heavy shadows, and it's clear the ambient light of the rest of the building doesn't reach this far down. We enter the control room for this part of the building, where we can download the floor schematics. Despite us pressing the button, we don't get a nifty map or anything like that. I guess this is just a diegetic reason for our watch compass to know where everything is. Mia, assumably, is the one who gets the maps and other useful documents. We access the plant via a manual charge door. Here we'll see literally the only advantage of this art style. Dark rooms are literally pitch black, and so your dependence on your flashlight is non-negotiable. It makes every flashlight flicker heart-gripping. We make our way through the maintenance halls. The lack of lockers and similar hiding spots spoil that there's no raptors in this area, but that doesn't mean we're alone. Oh, ew.
Find water. Wash it off fast.
All good. Yeah, our enemies for this level are toxin-spitting Dilophosaurs. Like all previous depictions, they are too small, with frills that rattle before they attack. Like the raptors, they come in 3 flavors, but all variations function identically. They'll hide in the vents or in the ceiling, popping out as you pass by. Because they learned hunting from Blue, rather than attack you for an easy dinner, they will instead hiss-rattle at you for a hot minute before spitting in your eye. With gunk all over your face, you'll have limited visibility, and that's about it. You can stand there doing nothing forever, or even complete the whole level, and as long as you don't get attacked a second time, you'll live. You can avoid getting hit altogether by scaring off the dinosaurs with your flashlight. If you're too slow and get gooed, don't panic. The green slime can be easily washed off. Simply go to one of these broken pipes with a bright yellow wrench conveniently stuck on it, and pull to start the water you can shower off with. If the goo makes it too hard to see the wrenches, keep an eye on the floor for the drains also conveniently placed under the broken pipes. One would think that with deadly neurotoxin in our eyes, we should be hurrying at the threat of our impending doom, and the game certainly plays up that this is the case.
If they spit again, find a pipe, open the valve, and wash it off immediately. It's a neurotoxin.
But in reality, the goo is completely harmless. A Dilo will kill you if it attacks while you have goo on your face, but they'll still do the whole wait and rattle thing, so using your light to flashbang their eyes will still do the trick. All of this knowledge required a second playthrough, by the way. This section is so easy and generous with water pipes that the first time I played, I didn't have any incidents with the Dilos. I was even angry that I forgot to die on purpose so I can see the Dilo death screen. Unless you are hard of hearing or have trouble with 3D audio, the Dilos will very quickly become a non-threat. Their jumping out points are very large and easy to see. Hell, you can even enter their vents for a bit if you feel like it. They'll never spawn on top of you though. In fact, they don't even jump you when they kill you. You just fade to black. Huh. So this horror game finally gets a decently creepy environment with a light jump scare mechanic, and the enemies don't get anywhere close to you. Thanks, game. Well, at least this section isn't boring. Unfortunately, this level doesn't account for our generally faster movement, as we don't have to hide and wait here like the Raptor sections. So completing our minor task, such as replacing machine parts, takes no time at all. We quickly make our way to the turbines in the back.
Check the master gauge. The system's through the floor. You want the vapor regulation room, close by.
Okay. Yeah, this little bit is best described as entering a room, doing something small, return to the main room, repeat. I guess that could be said about most of the game, really, but I digress. Turn the valves, adjust the knobs, and have Mia tell you what to do next. Damn! How much better would this section be if this was a multi-step puzzle where we had to start up and balance everything through deduction instead? This game is afraid of challenge, though. Anyway, our unscheduled mechanical maintenance meets a snag.
Shit, now the pressure's way too high. The outflow must be clogged. The condenser. Sorry, this font. Take the elevator. Follow the signs.
Got it. In a surprise for this game, this elevator keeps us in the same level, seemingly transporting us to an even lower floor. Down here is an almost grand-like hall, leading up to an almost fantasy-like scene. Green water obscures the floor. Vines and similar flora have started reclaiming this space. The ruins lay dormant without their masters, and a skylight reaches down from a several stories high hole, all of which comes together in an environment that invokes the imagery of fantasy forest ruins. Keep an eye out for fairies, though they'll likely be impossibly large and fireproof locusts, given that this is Jurassic World. Anyway, before we can pull the switch lit up in the center of the room, we'll need to unclog the 4 large pipes. Once we start up one pipe though, we'll be attacked by something truly terrifying. Several minutes of Mia being an attention-demanding child.
May 30th, 2015. This is a short meeting to establish facts. Dr. Henry Wu and Dr. Amelia Everett attending. The allegation is that on May 23rd, you met with Simon Masrani in defiance of the express instruction of your manager. Any response? For the mic, please.
No.
Okay. The board will look into any misconduct and be in touch if this proceeds to disciplinary.
Fine. We're done?
Yes, we're done. No, actually, we're not done. I want an explanation.
It was a pitch meeting.
Simon Masrani wants carnival attractions to impress the masses. He understands neither the nuance nor implication of what I'm trying to accomplish. The damage could be irreparable. To this lab, to the board's whole perception of what—
There it is! Perception. How everyone sees you. I must have been crazy. When was there ever room at Jurassic World for anyone except Dr. Wu and his black hole of an ego?
I don't understand. When you started, there was none of this entitlement.
You didn't know my name.
I don't know anyone's name, but I recognize your talent. I gave you my time and a place on my team. What do you want me to say?
That other people matter. That we made a difference to this park. That I made a difference. But you can't.
Unbelievable.
That's right, sneer and walk out, like always. Whoops. Guess you heard that.
Entitlement. Despite everything, he treated me like... You know what? It doesn't matter.
Okay, so this is where, in my Blinds Let's Play, I lost my shit and went on a full rant about this. And I'm sure that at least some of y'all believe that Mia is in the right here. So let's break down why I can't stand the way she acts in these recordings. first is Mia's consistent demands for attention. She's promoted to a high-ranking job and works under the most important person in her field, and that's not enough for her. She wants the very owner of the company, who is a layman, to put it nicely, to directly notice and talk to her. Not her real boss, not her team leader, not the guy who's apparently put up with her constant demands for recognition, Dr. Wu. She wants the highest guy possible to talk to her directly. This is bad for her team. This is bad for her boss. And this is bad for giving investors good impressions. She's clearly unprofessional and demanding. And her big accomplishment? The thing she keeps shoving into people's faces demanding ass pats for? She made 3 raptors dumb, blind, and cripplingly hyper-focused. What? This is a big deal. How exactly? She even talks about how she was on a team tasked with mapping the raptor's genome. But the raptors of Jurassic World are man-made from the ground up. Why are you mapping a genome that your company made? Just go into your old computer files and read the notes. The raptors don't even reproduce. The hell is this waste of time for? They reveal she made some more edits later, but those are dumb too, so we'll address those then. Anyway, because of this, she feels that Wu is controlling her and holding her back and not letting her get the acknowledgement she deserves. Bitch, do you know why managers and team leads are paid more? One word: accountability. If a team fucks up, the leader takes the fall. If the team does well, then the manager pushes for their team to receive more resources for future endeavors. Considering that the park dinosaurs have a massive death count and the raptors Mia made specifically probably killed their fair share of people, she should be grateful that the accountability of all those deaths are not on her. Wu likely shielded her from a lot of shit. But this was when World was very weirdly obsessed with making Dr. Wu a mustache-twirling villain, which honestly never worked. But I digress again. So, Wu is framed here as someone stealing the hard work of a woman, which I guess has happened twice now if you count Dominion, and yeah, this is all bullshit. Long story short, Mia is childish, unprofessional, and desperate for approval. And if she got the attention she desired, from the people she desired, then she would be in jail for the deaths of hundreds of park guests and staff. If you think she's in the right from these recordings, especially considering later recordings, then I think you likely have some things about yourself that you should address. I don't know if any of this is intended by the writers, but I doubt it considering how much the game expects you to like and care for Mia by the end of the game. If these recordings weren't in the game, I would like her a lot more. There's more audios later, and all they do is provide more evidence for my opinions on Mia. But I figured now was a fair enough time to establish my thoughts on these recordings. Returning to the game, we unclog the pipes and pull the switch to open the floor drains.
Perfect. Back to the turbine. Let's get you out of there.
We'll still be ungodly levels of smelly for the rest of the game, but if we dry off quick, we might not get any trench foot. Heading back up, everything seems to be repaired and ready to go. We just need to flip the master switch, which for some reason is several rooms away. To get there, we pass by the nest of the Dilophosaurs. This really confused me the first time I played. I was under the impression that Jurassic World attractions were all female, like in Jurassic Park. I really doubt the genes that allowed the raptors to change sex back in Park were still implemented into any world dinosaurs. And spoilers, but it's confirmed later in this very game that parthenogenesis was unique to Blue. So, the hell am I looking at? Well, I did some digging, and while it isn't said in the movies, and even some side media says the world dinosaurs are all female, the director of Jurassic World confirmed in a tweet that there are both male and female dinosaurs at World, and the park simply controls their breeding with the same methods as modern zoos. The more dangerous species, such as the Rex and Raptors, are kept female only, with the Raptors being cleared of any funky frog shenanigans. All other species, though, are fair game on whether they can have males or not. I mean, fair enough? With Fallen Kingdom completely and permanently destroying the setting of the franchise, it doesn't really matter. But it does explain the surprisingly large number of expecting parents we'll come across in this game. Anyway, getting close to their nests is obviously pissing off the Dilos, and we're clearly building up to something. Oh, fair enough. From this point onward, this level will be well lit and Dilo free, so take your time exploring if you wish. Mia needs us to head back to Ops though, and it's a decent trek.
Pick up. Come on, pick up. Please, please. Hello?
Payment was conditioned upon radio silence. Disable the link and do not call again.
Oh no, wait, it's me. It's Amelia Everett.
Amelia? You're the engineer. Is Mills out of his mind? I gave him a specific list of personnel.
We're trapped. Our plane went down. You've gotta send someone.
You know that's not possible.
Bullshit! Make a phone call.
The island's under UN quarantine. You expect me to risk exposure? Losing my work for your lack of foresight?
We're going to die!
My hands are tied. You understand.
I can still get it. The genome. The labs are open, the data's all there. Please.
Get everything. Call back in 1 hour. I'll discuss with Eli.
You son of a bitch! Knee. I'm sorry, Sam. What else can I say? And I can't let my work be buried here. Not if it can buy our way out of this mess. Come on. We've got work to do. Go to the breaker room. Activate Genome Lab.
Okay, so Dr. will get us a ride, but first we should go grab the data from the Genome Lab, which is what Mia originally hired us to do. So, sure. Might as well make sure this trip wasn't for nothing. Hehe. Anyway, let's flip that breaker switch.
This is insane. Okay, when you're ready, head to the labs.
And get on moving. On entering the Genome Labs, Mia informs us that our destination is a short walk away, assuming we have her key card. Except, she has her key card, so instead we'll have to go around the long way. I'm sorry, were they breeding Yoshis here? Despite the return of the Raptors, sneaking through the lab is fairly easy. The environment is notably more condensed than previous sections, with some rooms even bordering on claustrophobic. But this means the wait for the Raptors to leave a space is much shorter. Crossing the locker rooms, through multiple labs and cold rooms, into the hall, to the main Genome Lab. A loading screen later, and we reach a security entrance.
You'll have to buzz yourself in.
Using a vent to enter the security booth, we buzz in more than just ourselves.
Great. Head through and I'll... Shit. They were tracking you. We can't wait them out. You have to go through. You have to.
Heads up, You are invisible during the scene, so don't lose your good view by hiding under the desk like I did the first time. Briefly clear of the Raptors, we can use a vent to enter Mia's office.
2 years. Feels like a lifetime.
Damn, girl, this is your office? What the fuck were you on about not getting recognition? This is nice. If a person used this room as a studio apartment, the rent would be insane. If you don't want this office, give it to me. Anyway, we press the button to unlock the Genome Labs, though this requires several minutes to finish for some reason. Since we have time to kill, we decide to go ahead and download Mia's personal files for her. Of course, Mia decides to play us one.
But as the system evolves, we begin to see order, not entropy. Yet, any claim to predict or control that order is either omniscience or hubris. That's the end of chapter 2. And I'm afraid our time together, before I go, any questions? Anybody, any questions?
With Masrani's recent announcement of a Carnotaurus, is it time we saw a ban on genetic engineering?
Well, I doubt that you could ban genetic engineering any more than you could ban gravity. You know, it's a matter of restraint, I think, and keeping an open dialogue. And sure, yeah, maybe fewer bioattractions, certainly. One more question. Yes? Yes?
In your last book, you said you predicted the collapse of Hammond's original park.
Predicted? No. I was staggered by the level of arrogance.
So it was a random chance? Like a lucky guess?
No, chaos and randomness are emphatically not the same. We find random events, or so-called acts of God, comforting because they average over time. And then we invent luck and karma and imagine that the universe coalesces into some harmonious state, that everything balances out. No, life doesn't work that way. It's sensitive and temporal. And the smallest event has the potential to create catastrophic change, to hurl us down a terrifying new path. And we'll never see it coming. We'll never know the cause. The only question is...
Can we correct it?
Exactly. Can we correct it? That's right. Sorry. Who are you?
Yeah, y'all ever notice the world writers have turned Malcolm into someone who religiousifies science? I assume it's because the writers don't have Crichton's writings to brace their dialogue. That, or modern-day writers just can't do sci-fi worth a damn, including dialogue explaining abstract principles. It's probably both.
Okay, time to move.
Exiting the office, we are told that the Raptors are now officially active again. Using the desk as cover, we slither around the labs with a surprising amount of freedom. We need to go through decontamination, but it's locked until we start up the control terminal. Too bad it has a comedically large keypad.
I don't know the code. Come on. Akiyama. She was meticulous. She would have sent an email. Check the terminals in the office.
Using the hot-cold vibration feature on our left hand again, we scour the labs for an email with the decontamination pin. Our hot-cold meter doesn't actually tell us the specific computer we need to open, but rather points out several potential computers in the area, making it near useless for this section. And before you ask, despite the keypad itself being ready to go, you cannot just input the code from memory. It just won't let you. You have to find the code in your current specific playthrough. Between that and the cheat sheet, why is this game using key codes at all? Finding a key or unlocking the computers from other computers remotely would have made more sense. As wonky as VR controllers can be, typing the buttons is not where the challenge of a keypad lock comes from. Either way, we find the code, type it in, and head through decontamination.
Decontamination standing by.
The shower has an airlock, so we get a brief break from the Raptors, though this break is very short-lived. We enter analysis, but we're going to need a key card. Thankfully, there is one in this highly guarded room in this security box that requires the terminal to open. Too bad said terminal is in the perfect view of a window to the outside labs. This part isn't difficult, but if you don't approach it boldly, you'll likely get trapped for a long while. Now we got the key card, we can enter Central Analysis. Central Analysis was apparently where all the park budget went, as there are several holographic projections, cold storages, servers, and surprisingly loud machines. Our actual goal in this area is to find and download sequencing data from the computers. You should be used to this by now. Once we grab those, use the reception terminal to unlock the server room and head inside. A quick stop at a reception desk gives Mia time to comment.
This is why I hired you. I know less about server farms than I do about Euclidean fractals. Get in, find the Raptor genome and everything else with my name, and get out.
Fair enough. Oh, this is a boss battle arena, right? Well, sorta? You'll see. Locker people might want to open up all these lockers lining the walls, but they're far from needed. When ready, start up the evil villain supercomputer ominously sitting in the center of the room.
So, what? You need to fix the errors?
Okay, on to the mainframe control room to open up server room A, and the first set of maze walls, servers.
Then these raise up the central cooling units.
This isn't really fulfilling the promise of a boss battle yet, though. Silver's AI during this section is slightly different than normal. Rather than follow a full-set patrol path, she'll investigate the point the AI thinks you're going towards, then bounce between that point and where you're actually at, then it'll guess again where you are trying to go, and repeat. On one hand, this is way tighter and thusly more difficult than previous sections. But on the other hand, she can now be heavily influenced by the player. I actually prefer this more, as it's much closer to Alien Isolation than the baby's first stealth game we've had so far. Isolation-style AI is far from unpredictable, but it's way more thrilling than a set enemy path that is way too long and never adapts. That in mind, if Silver gets in your way and doesn't seem to be moving, get near or face a door to trick her into thinking you're going that way. Between that, the growing number of hiding spots in the main room, and the number of slowly resetting wall-mounted distractions will allow you to move where you need. Speaking of, our job here is to enter Server Room A, play a VI tool minigame, press the Resolve Error button, do this a couple times, head back to the mainframe control, open Server Room B, press the Resolve Error buttons in there, use the mainframe computer to raise the main room servers, press the couple error buttons there, and finally activate the big center computer to finish the download. All while Silver is no less than a foot from you. It's a decent challenge compared to the gameplay previously, but the fact this level of difficulty is reserved for a boss segment and not just normal gameplay is a bit disappointing.
Holy shit, I don't believe it. You're officially carrying my life's work. Head back up. I'll call Dr. Wu and get us off this rock.
Silver doesn't despawn, so move quickly while exiting.
Power. The whole bunker's down. Radar, comms. I need to fix this. Ugh, my leg. I'm gonna find the fuse box. It's down one of these tunnels. Get back to ops.
Odd. It seems the Raptors have left the area. Now we can exit through incubation.
Not far. These service tunnels run all under the island. They should even lead back to the lab. Once Wu sends transport, I'll be able to... What the hell is that? Sam, help! Get back to the ops room! Run!
Oh shit! Anyway, Despite what Mia says, there isn't any timer to return to the ops room. That, and the Raptors have completely despawned from the Genome Lab area, allowing the player to explore, look around, and read private emails at their leisure. Some of these rooms are kind of neat. Take your time. Ignore the sounds coming from the vents. Though, keep in mind that the Raptors will respawn in other sections of the building such as transport or residential. Either way, now that Mia is totally Raptor Chow...
Oh god, they found me! God, the store won't stay!
Enter the ops room when ready.
That file from the office! Use the console! Lay it on the speakers! Get rid of them!
Once more, despite what Mia says, time is not of the essence. If you want to chill in the supply room, you totally can, though the audio playing computer is temporarily disabled. It's not exactly scenic though, so let's use the main terminal to help Mia.
Shit. Oh, hold on. I found the fuse box. Okay, I think they're gone. I'm heading back. You can cut this down now.
Mia calls Dr. Wu back.
Oh, that sucked. No more excitement. I'm making the call. He better still be there. Oh, pick up. Come on. We got it all. Our work, the genome. It wasn't easy. Dr. Wu?
I discussed with Mills. He feels that, in order to offset the risk, further compensation is required.
What? No. We got everything from the labs. Send a goddamn boat.
This is not my decision. You put me in an impossible position. If it was anyone else... A few years ago, I trialed a monitor lizard polymerase to promote parthenogenesis. You remember the result?
While this lovely call is going on, our useless security cameras are being knocked out one by one. Should we be freaking out?
Wait, you want Blue's DNA? No. Samples are kept in cryogenic storage. I need...
Director authentication. I can show you how to get it.
You'd risk our lives for one raptor.
This is so much bigger than you, than both of us. What I'm trying to accomplish. This is your chance to make a real difference. Dr. Everett.
Send me the details. Corporate habitation. The vault. I know this is way beyond anything you signed on for. But you need to trust me if we want to survive. What the hell? Everything's failing. Security, maglock, sensors. They're coming! The safe room, under the stairs. Hide, now!
Again, you can take all the time you need, but this blaring alarm is annoying, so let's go ahead and get into the closet.
Come on! Shit. Just stay there, alright? You're safe. I'll fix this! Sam!
And that was Chapter 1. Yeah, this game was originally split into 2 different chapters released separately, thusly, the title of Aftermath Collection. Believe it or not though, this turned out to be a good thing, because the plague happened between development of each chapter. Let me explain. Due to time and resource constraints, the game had a lot of scrapped ideas during development. This is normal. What isn't normal is a plague giving your team more time to expand on the second half of the game. They now had time to do a lot more of what they wanted. Dinosaurs that only appeared in cutscenes now had interactable moments, and I suspect they used this time to look at the feedback for Chapter 1, because the difficulty in gameplay is loads better. Seriously, the game really starts to pick up towards the end. With that in mind, thank you for putting up with me this long. Oh, and I also suspect this is why the albino compy never appears again. Maybe she had a bigger role in the second half, and they cut it in favor of the more exciting scenes? I don't know, but I feel it's a valid guess. Oh, and despite Chapter 2 being an improvement, Mia is just as annoying in the audio logs. Seriously, why does she think Sam should hear these? Gotta take advantage of those voice cameos, I guess. Anyway, we wake up in the void. We are given a recap via silhouettes while audio of Malcolm talking to Mia plays over it. He's lecturing her on the hubris of man and how attempting to control nature is doomed to fail. Careful, Malcolm, they'll get you cancelled in our timeline. It also ignores how Jurassic Park was sabotaged and Jurassic World lasted for decades before being brought down by an unnatural and completely fictional living superweapon. I suppose he never knew about Nedry, and this is a recording while World is still fully functional, but my point still stands. At least the pessimism lines up with his character.
Ask them how safe they'd feel trapped and alone with talons scratching at the door. Sorry. Bad habit. Are you okay?
We enter the chapter proper with the Raptors wanting you to come out of the closet. We seem trapped, but under Mia's instruction, we activate the fire-suppressing systems.
Who are you, really?
Sam, you're still with me, right? I think I found something. It's not much, but I need you to access the ops room automated systems. Trial and Talon were the only thing that ever came close to a deterrent. Okay. Try the door.
So, bad news. The whole room is destroyed. Even our little supply room hangout is a mess. The main console is apparently our only way to contact Wu, which is odd considering how many likely functional computers and laptops are littered around the place. We can repair the console, but we'll need to find a fuse. Checking out the supply room, we don't find any fuses, but we do find a new wrist UI upgrade.
An EMF reader. That might come in useful. It tracks electronic frequencies, nodes, devices, or anything fitted with an RFID tag.
Cool. Now we can hunt down some dinosaur ghosts. Actually, to be fair, we actually use the EMF reader for what it's for, detecting and locating electromagnetic fields. Now, that falls flat on its face when you realize we'll be using it to hunt down powered-off devices in a ruined building littered with snapped wires that even give off sparks. But credit where it's due. The EMF reader also uses a hot-cold system, although it's communicated via an audio and visual display rather than through controller vibration. While this might seem more annoying, it's significantly less. First, the audio is only active when your hand is raised, unlike the vibrations, which were constant previously. Second, the visual cue makes the system deaf-friendly, and gives you a second method of reading the system. For this tutorial, we're just looking for the fuse, which is conveniently located in a torn open box.
Excellent. Now see the console, bottom corner? Okay, we've got work to do. Wu needs us to recover Blue's DNA from storage. Unfortunately, storage is a cryogenic chamber beneath the vault. Just to get inside, we need to add your biometrics to the security database.
Under Mia's orders, we head back down and pull the breaker for the corporate suites.
Okay.
The corporate suites are located in residential. Go to the place where Block A and Block B split from each other and take the elevator instead. While on the elevator, Mia explains that the corporate suites were way nicer than her own living quarters.
Feel free to wreck the place. Too late.
First of all, Mia, your private rooms are really nice. You get free housing in the form of a nice modern studio apartment in addition to probably insanely high pay you already get as a Jurassic World geneticist. All in your 20s. Second, you want the corporate suites to be the nicest hotel room the park can afford, because it's the money from those suits that pay your salary and fund your projects. Assuming their demands are not insane, you should want them nice and happy so Wu and other higher-ups can, forgive the pun, woo them into giving your department money. There's no way the park visitors alone are paying enough to cover all of this. Let the rich drink as much champagne as they want. It'll be easier to convince them to open their wallets. Welcome to the realities of investments. I will say, it is a bit odd that the corporate suits are in this genetics lab and not in one of the park's dedicated hotels. But maybe this is so investors can get a better impression of the work Mia and her coworkers do. I guess it doesn't matter though, as the suites are more damaged than one would think. It's here we introduce a new minor mechanic. Occasionally, large vines will block a passage or hold a door shut. Simply grab the vines and pull to break them off and clear your path. This is a small thing, but it adds time to a potentially time-sensitive situation. The corporate suites are truly ruined. Massive holes in the roof, expansive vegetation reclaiming the structure, and significantly large piles of rubble littering the place. It's hard to believe that this is the damage of only 2 years. And it's even harder to believe the rest of the building is as structurally sound as it is, if the upper floors are this wrecked. Through the ruins, you can make out the basics of what was once here. Wall-spanning windows, probably artificial fireplaces that are somehow still lit, and bathrooms with no walls or dividers. Fancy. If Sam was the looting type, he could add a bunch of unopened and probably expensive champagne to his haul. I guess his boss is watching though. As interesting as this all is, there are no enemies here and the only thing of note is in the back.
Shoot. Carlos.
Regardless of how close you get to the nest, the pterosaur won't attack you here. Odd, because the pterosaurs attacked the plane and Carlos because we were getting too close to the building. Remember this. Mia rightfully feels guilty about killing nearly all of her employees with this job.
I thought we'd find him. I hoped. I brought him here. I brought all of us. He saved my life. And I couldn't save his. Do me a favor, Sam. Survive. Whatever happens.
Just beyond these rooms is the gallery. To open the door, we introduce a new small mechanic in connecting power plugs. Y'all will see where this is going. For now, pass through the gallery and library into the executive lounge. Nice! The executive lounge, or rather the restaurant attached to it, was still under construction when the park was abandoned. This means giant wires, strangely arranged furniture, and a fully stocked bar because, of course, we get a raptor for this section. But the large rainforest cafe tree creates a large amount of cover. While the door out of the area is easy to get to, the door itself needs to be powered to open. This creates a neat little puzzle. We need to get to the other side of the cafe, into the kitchen, which will attract the raptor on entry, and into the staff room. There will be a power switch leading into a plug in this room, and using that charge, you need to figure out which plugs at several juncture points you need to plug in to get the power all the way to the exit door. There are some distraction speakers to help you here, or some lights hanging from the tree, but they must be powered on to work, which means having the incorrect solution to the puzzle. The whole thing might take a bit, but it's a very welcome twist to the typical hide from the Raptor gameplay we've had so far. It also slows down anyone who's figured out that this game favors the bold, as blindly plugging in whatever cord will likely necessitate going back for a correction, so it's better to stop and do it right the first time. Continuing the pattern of strange floor plan designs, there are offices past the lounge we can access via a vent in the freezer. I know the strange floor plan is for the benefit of the level designs, but this is getting a little ridiculous.
Noisy little loner. Must be a nest nearby.
The vent connects a freezer and a bathroom, which is totally sanitary. But what's even more unbelievable is 5 steps from the public bathrooms is Dr. Wu's office. You can tell it's Dr. Henry Wu's office because a Chinese tea set is in the center. You know, because he's from Ohio. Those Ohio State Buckeyes and their oolong tea just can't go a day without it. No, but seriously, between this and the Chinese-inspired bamboo garden next door, I can't help but raise an eyebrow. I'll be nice and move on.
Finally. The authentication console's straight ahead. Boot up, scan yourself into the system, and we're done.
Authentication isn't done with Wu's computer, but rather the giant impractical wall terminal on the far side. No way in hell would Wu be okay with this in his office. But whatever.
God damn it! This leg. What are we doing? 9 years ago, when I first came here, I was gonna change the world. Now my leg's smashed. You probably hate me, and Juan, and Carlos. We're gonna die 1,000 miles from home. Because of a flash drive. And because of me. What now? Crap, that's it. The key! You gotta get after her. Little pack rat. They'll build a nest out of anything.
Fair enough. Time for a compy hunt. But first, to leave the office, we need to do one of the new hacking mini-games. You are shown 3 shapes on one side, then the other, and then you need to match the shapes to each other. Like the other mini-games, a child too young to safely use a VR headset would think this is too easy. And the challenge mainly comes from raptors breathing down your neck when you do it later. I do appreciate that they added new mini-games to Chapter 2 though. It helps freshen things up a little in spite of simplicity. Following the halls and some rubble, we're told to use our EMF reader to locate the compy. Just like previous hot-cold sections, you can ignore the meter entirely as the area is linear and self-looping. But this time, you need to open up all these identical sliding cabinets in search of the compy holding the USB. You'll come across the thief several times, and despite hypothetically being easy to grab, Sam just watches as the little peeper just slips away.
The key. She'll head back to her nest. Keep going.
The real interest of this area is the new mechanics the compies add to the Raptor gameplay. There's a raptor in the area, and she'll act like she normally does. However, there are also nesting compies around. If you get too close, they'll screech and run away. The raptor will immediately be attracted to the sound and will even investigate the surrounding area a bit. She'll even, le gasp, check under the desk and vents? Whoa! This greatly limits your movements, and your diving into hiding spot skills just got a lot more important. Add on that there are entire rooms filled with compies that you need to investigate, and you got yourself a much-needed difficulty increase. I like this, and let's hope it's a good sign that the game will be revving up the difficulty in general. Hell, there are even a couple high-risk paths and false hiding spots you need to stealthily speed through in this area. Get that blood pumping. The compies have an upside too. If you're not disturbing them, such as when you're in hiding, they'll stay out in the open but hide as the raptor comes near, giving the keen-eyed an extra warning for when she's coming up around a blind corner or door. Our hunt for the little lizard chicken will take us throughout the whole area, which includes an infested break room, this random mammalian skeleton, the virtual offices, whatever that means, and that Chinese-themed botanical garden I mentioned earlier, among other places. Ironically, the Asian-inspired garden uses Triceratops as its main statue, rather than the wide variety of unique Chinese dinosaurs we've discovered over the years. Not even Velociraptor. After you've explored the whole area, we'll catch up to the compy.
The nest. You little shit, I'm glad you're extinct. Okay, back to Wu's office. Don't drop that thing.
We head back to Wu's office and use the USB to get our fingerprints scanned and added to the security system permissions, without taking off our gloves. Anyway, we take a shortcut back to the front entrance of the executive suites and regroup back at Ops. Now that we are all on the whitelist, we just need to update the systems in the rest of the facility, which can be done from our handy-dandy operations computer. In truth, this is an excuse to hold us in place while Mia plays another audio recording.
I guess earlier you heard some of that recording from when I met Malcolm. There's a second half to that story.
You caught me, Ian. I started the labs tomorrow.
Another geneticist. Which lunatic with a god complex sold you on that idea?
You did. The fractal emergence.
That's strange. I thought I wrote that in English.
Hey, genomic interdependency is like any nonlinear system. The tiniest change to one little nucleotide could cause, I don't know, a thunderstorm in New York.
Or raptors in a theme park. Here, let me back up. I don't blame you. I don't blame anybody for their curiosity. The wonder of discovery is hardwired. We believe that any new tool, any new technology is inherently good. And that's despite every piece of evidence to the contrary. We fill the ocean with plastic. We level rainforests. We destroy the natural world so that we can build attractions to emulate it. We are responsible, all of us, for a century of avarice and indifference to the destruction of our home.
So, if I'm not complicit, what am I?
You're the product. You're a dinosaur. Yeah. See there? That's my point. You got my opinion, and now you're marching out? What, that one piece of knowledge ruined everything? Wait, Mia, you forgot your recorder. Cut you off. Where's the,
I went back for my recorder, but he was never gonna tell me what I wanted to hear. That someone like me could still do some good in this world. Forget it.
Oh, wow. Seriously, Mia, why the hell are you playing this for Sam? This is audio evidence that you are a mental child who throws tantrums when your ego isn't stroked enough. You literally stormed out of a conversation because the person you admire didn't call you a hero. As someone who firmly believes technological advancement will be the way to save the planet, I inherently disagree with Malcolm's anti-science take here. But I wouldn't just storm out mid-conversation. I would talk it out and see if I can convince him otherwise. And failing that, I would try to understand why he holds these opinions. And I know I would do that because I slip into casual debates all the time. So much, in fact, that I piss people off on the regular because they weren't prepared or in the mood to defend or explain their stances. I honestly doubt that would be the case with Malcolm here, though, considering he's willing to sit with you and take time out of his day to chat. I don't know what you were expecting, by the way. You say you read Malcolm's books, but then you thought he would see you as an exception to his stance that nature can't be controlled? That he would praise you despite you being a Jurassic World geneticist? Or rather, because of? Seriously, Mia was in desperate need of a reality check. And I'm not convinced she's woken up yet, considering she thinks this is worth playing for her employee. Whatever. We'll continue on for Sam. Breaker room, vault switch, you know the drill. The behavioral labs are located past the creation labs. This entails navigating past the Raptors and entering this door. Once we load into the level, Mia admits she forgot the code we need and tells us to check out her locker in the room close by. You can tell it's her locker because it's the nicest one there. Wonder how many tantrums she had to throw to get this one. Anyway, inside is a childhood photo of Mia meeting Hammond at a dig site.
I totally forgot about that. Me and Hammond. That must have been... wow, 9. Could you hold on to it? Okay, 5370. Back to it.
With the code secured, we can enter the labs proper.
The behavioral labs. This is where we kept them. The Velociraptor has 10,000 protein-creating genes, produced from nearly 2 billion base pairs. My team helped create every Raptor asset. We knew every protein and polynucleotide. Blue's DNA contains one unique element. Monitor lizard. And apparently that difference is worth risking our lives.
In the center is a Raptor stadium for ants, and using the ventilation system, we can bypass the door and make our way deeper inside. As we do our regular travels through the facility via ducts and maintenance tunnels, Mia will warn us to move slow because the Raptors might be around. However, since there are no hiding spots, there are also no Raptors. We eventually emerge into the outdoor holding pens.
These are some of the oldest pens on the island. You might be able to brute force that lock. You'll need like a wrench or some rebar.
Okay. Reaching into an open-hooded truck, we grab a large and sharp broken metal handle. Despite this being perfect for going all vampire hunter on the Raptors, Sam is upsettingly a pacifist or something, because we don't ever get the option to defend ourselves. What we do get is a glorified caveman tool. We use it mainly to pry open the locked doors in this area. We pass through a couple more observation rooms and abandoned pens. The raptor holding cages from the First World movie make a cameo here, which makes sense. The main attraction, though, is a much bigger resident of the facility.
You're a long way from home. Almost there, Sam. See that shutter?
How the Triceratops survived 2 years in these pens or otherwise wandered in is beyond me. But I appreciate that not only are we getting a new dinosaur, but our first peaceful one that we can approach without worry. Anyway, the shutters into the next pen are down, so we head up into the observation deck to see what we can do. Exactly a puzzle by any stretch of the word, but it gets the job done.
Guess she's hungry.
Ducking under the Triceratops. Pardon me, ma'am? And through a puzzle-matching door, we reach the nerve center of the Raptor Behavioral Lab.
Welcome to the observation. Main observation. This was the heart of our work, where we tested and conditioned the Raptors. See outside, those speakers? Using that audio cue, we'd summon them right here to be fed. Kinda like a dinner bell. That terminal on the right wall is the master control. Shutters, security, everything. There'll be a power switch by the window.
Neat! This appears to be the childhood home and/or training pens of yellow, green, and silver. Out of all the places in this facility, this one, ironically, seems to be the least overgrown. Pull the switch to turn on the power in the room, as indicated by your new control terminal and the hologram display in the center of the room. It's odd we don't see more low-poly holograms, considering it's probably just a shader on a pre-existing model. As in, just switching in one of the other models would probably work. It would be a neat way to incorporate the animals we don't get to see in this game, such as the mosasaur or a plesiosaur, which we only get to see toys of. Just switch this raptor with one of the toy models and make it life-size. Interestingly, I came across a minor glitch in the hall connecting the cafeteria to the geothermal plant, where what I think is the base of a hologram sometimes briefly appears. No matter what I did, I couldn't get anything more to appear, but it did briefly make me hope we can play around with hologram distractions like what was shown in the first World movie. Anyway, back to our new terminal, we are presented with everything being offline, locked, or inactive. To fix the errors and turn everything back on, we need to do some very unrealistic IT. First, we turn a dial into place a few times to open up the computer. This, not a mini-game, will reappear in the future. Then we do a mini-game specific to this computer. Using a very free-moving handle on the PC, we play what is basically a scary maze game minus the jump scare. You control a little cursor, and you need to avoid the walls as you make your way to your goal. Some levels have multiple goals, so you'll need to look at the background error numbers to see which goal you need to head to next. After one level of this, we hit a snag.
Great. Wait, can you hear? Crap, that's gas. Find the valve, shut it off. Okay, oof. The room's hermetically sealed. If there's a leak, one spark could take out half the lab.
Oh, hello Chekhov's gas leak. Seriously, we handle it so easily and without any fuss. What else could it be? We unlock the rest of the computer with no incident, though we also activate the call sequence while we're at it.
Feeding pens. Open. Excellent. That's your path to the loading bay. Now just activate the security door and you're out of there. Shit. Check outside. They're coming. Move. Go. Now.
Din-din! But seriously, the Raptor is now patrolling the pens we need to cross through. Despite Mia's warnings, the Raptor won't meet us in the observation deck. Don't forget, our 3 Raptors are especially stupid and inattentive thanks to our Mia's wish to save the world, so she'll finally get the ass pats she so desperately craves. Seriously, in the alternate timeline of the Jurassic Park universe, purposely making an animal unfit via genetics should be considered animal abuse. Though the supposedly mentally intact raptors, such as Blue, can't even eat an egg in a timely manner. So maybe all the Jurassic World products are defective. That would explain a lot, actually. Anyway, using the fake rocks and logs in the enclosure, you can navigate around the Raptor. The last enclosure has a closed shutter, but thankfully there is a chargeable door opener in the enclosure itself. For this one, we need to turn the wheel and stab the broken handle in to jab it open. There are 2 big challenges with this, one intentional and one not. The intentional challenge is that the space is fairly tight, and unless you distract the Raptor, you'll probably be noticed pretty quickly. With the wheel turning resetting if you let go, this creates a very small window of time to crank the wheel 100% before the Raptor sees you. The unintentional challenge is that the handle requires you to move your hand perfectly to jam it, so it tends to jank out more often than not. Not a big deal, but between that and the wheel, you'll probably have to give it a few tries. It is notable that the hand controller tracking of the Quest 3 is worse than the Quest 1 and 2, so the precise hand movements demanded are likely easier on the intended hardware. Once the door is open, we can slip under the shutter right into the previously closed hangar of the shipping storage. From there, we can pass through deployment and logistics to processing and the vault.
Hey, the service tunnels. I'm right on the other side of that door, plus half a mile of limping. When the time comes, I'll be there. I promise.
Okay, it's way past time to address the elephant in the room. The thing that is by far the biggest hindrance to this game. Its graphical style. Rather than make this game realistic, they opted for a cel-shaded style meant to emulate comic books. This is extremely disappointing, as it removed pretty much all of the scare factor from the enemies in this game. It's not a Jurassic World Velociraptor chasing you. It's a series of shapes that vaguely resemble a theropod that is chasing you. It isn't unplayable, but it truly and genuinely removes any and all fear factor from this game. And that's a real shame, because VR is absolutely terrifying. It takes pretty much nothing to make a VR game scary. The most terrifying gaming experience I have ever had was in a child-friendly educational VR app. But Jurassic World Aftermath doesn't even try to do this. If the art style was only a limitation of the hardware, I would be disappointed, but I would also leave it there. After all, it was developed for the Quest 1 and 2, which were both very limited in power and graphical ability. But that's where the previously mentioned Mashable interview comes in. Brian Gomez says something very damning in regards to the graphics. We also didn't want it to be so intimidating and so scary for a huge portion of the Jurassic audience that doesn't want a totally visceral R-rated horror experience. What the actual fuck? That's beyond stupid. Who the fuck wants to play a stealth horror game with no horror? That's just, well, boring. Oh my god, so much of this game is just boring! And this is probably why! If you are the kind of person who would go out of their way to play a VR game, which in itself is a notable barrier of entry right now, then you're the kind of person who wants the full experience. Not this lame horse of an art style. Now, in the same interview, Gomez states that the game isn't meant to be horror, which is a blatantly false thing to say. Ignoring the art style, the gameplay is a copy of Alien Isolation. The Dilophosaurus section is straight off of Itch.io. There are several, oh, stop and look at that scary thing moments. And almost all the deaths involve big teeth in your face. There are even flickering flashlights in the dark sections. And then, almost as a minor footnote, the article mentions the graphics were also potatoed so they can fit in the Raptor AI and relatively large environments. There! Was that so hard? Why is this much more respectable reason a blink it and you'll miss it afterthought? You should have used this interview to sell your game as pushing the system to its limits. Some of the greatest games in software history pushed their systems to their absolute breaking point, and the end results were amazing. And yet, Gomez here is trading that narrative for, we made a game for tourists on a console that is relatively unfriendly to tourists. I have no idea why they made up all this bullshit about trying to make a non-horror title. All it does is make it look like they don't know their audience, especially considering how much excitement is building for Jurassic Park Survival, despite its numerous red flags. Look, even the marketing team knew what people wanted, as they made a point to obscure the style on the main cover art. Future game developers, If the limitations of your game are based on the gaming system, just say so. That's both understandable and respectable. It's been a common reason since the dawn of gaming. Don't tell everyone you did it because you specifically don't like or understand the genre you're developing a game in. Whatever the story though, the art style is often cited as the reason people don't want to give the game a chance at all. This is in spite of all the typical games journalism sites praising the style. Even a later Mashable article skeptical of the game praised its visual choices, which is just more evidence to me that traditional games journalists are thoroughly out of touch with authentic gamers. Woo! That frustration has been brewing in my brain for a while now. But now that that's out of the way, let's return to the game. You can tell the vault was meant to impress investors, because it's decked out with a dark purple and glowing cyan color scheme. That can't be practical or cost efficient, but it's definitely pretty. The vault itself is a comically large safe that we can't exactly break into.
Nothing is ever easy. You see that security room on the right? That console opens the vault. Unfortunately, with this ballistic glass, it might as well be on the moon. Okay, recalibrate. This is fine. You see at the back of the room, that elevator? That's how we're getting inside. We'll head down into biomatter processing, then back up into vault security. First things first, the display room, top of the stairs.
It's hard to focus with the Raptors in the vents, but we don't see any hiding spots, so no worries there yet. Mia gives us the password to enter the display room. Speaking of impractical and expensive, the display room creates holographic previews of items. These assets are stored in a series of back rooms staffed by humans who send out requests via a conveyor belt system. Whatever happened to a good old filing cabinet? Whatever, it works for us because said back rooms loop into the security room for the vault door. Restoring the power and pressing random buttons until the holographic preview machine opens up the conveyor belt, we travel along it into the back rooms of the back rooms.
Time to do your best impression of a box.
We come out into a small warehouse, but using a vent we can return to the conveyor belt system. In a neat bit of scenery, we pass by rooms of fossils and amber collections. Seriously, what's with world raptors and failing the basic concepts of stealth and hunting? Despite being given reason to think there is an angry raptor on the other side of this grate, we use a typical door charger to open it, and sure enough, no raptor. Despite being able to kill pacifist Sam super easily, the raptor has fled into the vent.
She knows you're here.
No shit. Using a vent, we reach a new room, and in a shocking twist, the raptor has done something actually intelligent. She's guarding the exit. Even if you mess with her, she will aggressively guard the door you need to go through.
Whoa, stop. She's right there. Don't let her see you.
Too bad for her, we are in a video game. Pressing a button to summon a storage cube, we can hide behind it to reach a desk in the middle of the room. From here, we can use a speaker to distract her from the door. Poor thing. Even when they try their hardest, they are still dumber than dirt. Out the busted door, down the stairs, and to the transfer bay.
Biomatter processing. This is where we tagged every scrap of amber, blood, and bone. The vault elevator is straight ahead.
Okay, so we've hit a snag. The door leading to the vault security room is locked out. There is apparently a glitch in the computer system where it won't open the door until we finish the item retrieval order left in from when the staff evacuated. Just canceling the order doesn't work, so we need to manually go into both cryo and amber storage to retrieve the requested items.
Resolve the manifest. A hunk of amber and some cans. How hard can it be? Hit the release. The door's behind you.
I honestly shouldn't need to tell y'all how dumb this all is. I could start at questioning why the biomatter retrieval system and the security room to the vault are connected and continue on down the list from there. But I like to think my audience is smart enough not to need that. So we pull up our bootstraps and head out to manually obtain the requested items.
What do you want to hit first?
We'll start with cryogenics first. It seems the cryogenic lab is having a bit of an air conditioner problem.
Shit. Applied Cryogenics is the only lab in the whole center with a long-term backup. But with no one to maintain it, it's like the Huronian Ice Age in here.
The door forward is frozen over, so our first goal is to fix the heater in the room. For this, we need to plug in the power on the wall and then use this vent to get into the maintenance room. Of course. When ready, bring up the temperature in the room.
Damn it. Keep low. Get to the door.
So from this, you can get the basic idea of this area. We are still traveling through a series of desk-filled rooms, but this time, to continue onward, we need to connect the heaters to the power and turn up the heat. It's nice that we have an additional goal to the same Raptor stealth gameplay we've seen all game, but this challenge should have been the second time we faced the Raptors, not the 100th. Baby steps, I suppose. At the end of the line are the canisters, and looping back the way we came will direct us to decontamination. Place the canisters into the storage cube, line up these little bars, and send it on its way. Released back to the fork in our path, it's time for amber processing.
Great work. Now about that fossilized resin. You'll be able to track down the sample in amber processing.
This one is more picky on what we bring back.
Transfer log talked about sample X450. There's an index machine in the cutting room.
Okay.
Yes, X450, unprocessed. It'll have an electronic tag. It shouldn't be hard to find. Use your EMF reader. Get it through processing. We're good.
Okay, so I don't know which amber is which, but Sam does. Let's head out, but be careful while you leave. Whoops! The area we'll be searching for amber in is a series of loops that connect into other loops that then loop into each other. This is one of those areas that if you have it memorized, you'll be in and out in 5 minutes tops. But the first time you play, you'll likely be wandering in a circle for an upsettingly long time. To hypothetically help with this is that our EMF reader can hot-cold your way to the amber. Somehow. I say hypothetically though because it broke big time for me right here, telling me to go in circles both before and after I got the amber. It would direct me to this specific table, then point me away from it, then point me right back. It was awful, but once I started ignoring the beeping, I was progressing at a reasonable speed. First thing, we need to find the amber itself. The staff really were evacuated mid-packing because the amber is in a transport box already.
Okay, that is way too big. We'll need to head back through cutting.
Next, we need to move it to a storage box already on a conveyor belt leading out. Then we need to adjust the conveyor belt so it actually heads to where we want.
Okay, that'll take it to the workshop just along the hall. Keep an eye on your reader.
Then you need to locate the box which has been moved to indexing. The door is locked, so to get in you need to mess with the buttons in archival so the vent into indexing isn't blocked. Once in, you grab the amber and... Wait. Why the fuck did we do all that? Sam can clearly just hold it in his pocket. Opening the vent into indexing can be done as soon as you enter the area, so why can't we just go out the way we entered? Whatever. We bring the amber back to the cutting room near the front of the amber labs. Next to it is the amber cutting machine.
The cutting machine's simple enough. Even I could use it. Place it on the belt and follow the screens.
Translation: fiddle around with everything until it works. Rotate the wheels, highlight the designated markers, and voila!
Perfect. Get it through decontamination, and you're done.
Second verse, same as the first. Open the cube, place the object, balance the levels, and send it off. And with that taken care of, we can use the belts back at the front of the level to load the items up and ship them out.
Come on. Work, you piece of... Yes! Oh, that was not a fun 6 seconds. I thought my heart was gonna explode. Okay, are we there? Does it work?
And now, for no good reason, we can enter the vault's security room. We're already cleared for the security scanner, as our gloved fingerprints are in the system now. With the controls open to us, we open the door in a needlessly questionable way. If the security measures are satisfied, then it should be one button to open the vault. Maybe a confirmation prompt or a secondary password. But no. To open the vault, we have to turn a little dial like a safe. I know that it's here for gameplay reasons, but we've definitely thrown out all believability long before this point. We need a distraction.
Son of a... Just stay calm. She can't reach you. Stay right there.
Nice. As we enter the vault, something doesn't seem right.
What the hell? Where's... anything?
Mainly because it's notably empty, and there's a note on a terminal from Ms. Ronnie joking around with and welcoming thieves. Good thing the terminal also has a button that opens up a secret massive elevator. The fuck is this security system? Ignoring all suffocation concerns, we take the elevator to the real vault.
Incredible.
Seeing all the fossils prompts Mia to open up about her childhood.
I grew up in Montana. We used to go hiking and fossil hunting. I loved the idea that a life, even an unremarkable one, could leave this permanent impression on the world. Then I learned about Hammond and the park. What he created inspired millions. I wanted that. Not money or fame, but to inspire hope, make a difference. I was 9 when I met Hammond. My dad took me to a dig site near Snakewater. I shook his hand, he signed our photo, and it was right then I knew I wanted to be a genetic engineer, to bring these fossils, these impressions back to life. I brought that photo when I started here at the park. I kept it on my desk, but after a while it felt childish, naive. That girl in Montana. What happened to her?
Oh! That's why she's so desperate for praise. I thought it was because she was a narcissistic man-child. It's because she's a narcissistic man-child. But at least the game has attempted to explain her unacceptable behavior. This is the Jurassic Park universe's equivalent of becoming a VTuber because you want more people to praise you, then having a meltdown within 1 year because you didn't become everyone's waifu overnight. Inspire people my ass. What's so inspiring about sensory-challenged raptors? Especially considering World doesn't even have a public raptor display. At least with Owen's raptors, you could argue he was training them like seals. But Mia's raptors? Well, Silver in particular does have one thing cool about her that might inspire people. But I'm getting ahead of myself, and there are much safer ways to experience that cool thing as a tourist. You'll see. Moving on, the vault is filled with mostly fossils, and while I'm not one to bash a virtual museum, there isn't really anything here of note. They even have a model of a Triceratops, but the real thing is just downstairs, so... In the back is a cryogenic storage, but they only keep one DNA sequence in here.
There she is. Blue.
It's notably less impressive when you remember she can't even feed herself.
I know what you're thinking. Mills owes us a lot more than a ride out of here. Trying to capture a live raptor is one thing, but capturing Blue... She would take an army. Guard that canister. Do not let it go. When we get home, Mills can pay us what it's worth.
Blue doesn't require an army. She requires a trank and a beefsteak. She'll stare at the food so long you can unload the tranks into her, and she probably wouldn't even try to run away. Speaking of capture, the elevator fails on us.
Look around. Is there a way to, I don't know, hotwire it?
And Mia, in her complete lack of social etiquette, distracts us with more audio recordings while we are fixing the elevator we are currently trapped in.
There's another file here. I thought I played them all. Hold on.
Okay. Hi, Mia. It's Ian. You still haven't come back. I'm sitting here thinking, and you know what frustrates me most? And the point I was trying to make is that for all the ignorance and greed that it's taken for our planet to get here, we still haven't passed the point of no return. Not yet. And the way I see it, a course correction would take one of two things. One, a dramatic, instantaneous shift in the thinking of nearly everybody on the planet. Let's call that unlikely. So, number two, for one person, the right person, to put the future of their species ahead of their own ambition, ahead of their pride, maybe ahead of their life. A leader of industry, a senator, or maybe a scientist. We don't have the luxury of knowing where our every decision is going to lead. But one thing I do know for certain, real change, the change you're looking for, takes real courage and real sacrifice.
I need that. I'm not a bad person, Ian.
I know, Mia. You're just trying to make a difference.
Ian. I hated him for 10 years. I never knew. It doesn't matter now. How are we looking? Okay, back to the ops room. Let's get the hell out of here.
That was nice, and very out of character for Malcolm to say, but anything to calm the fully grown baby that just threw a tantrum, eh? Either way, Mia is definitely not the type of person who actually does end up inspiring people to do good things. Inspire them to add personality tests to their company's job interviews, maybe? But to save the planet or whatever? Hell no. Why is everyone catering to this insufferable brat? And why does the game keep pretending that's not what she is? She better be paying Sam an insane amount of money for all of this. Because if I were him, I would be thinking of ways to get alternative payment. While we are fixing up the elevator, we are introduced to a new mechanic that'll come up again later. We take 2 live electrical outputs and smash them together.
Okay, strike the notes together a few times. Okay, back to the ops room. Let's get the hell out of here.
Holy shit! That might be the dumbest thing you can do short of just electrocuting yourself. Try this in real life to get your hands blown off and your wires fried. This is such a fire hazard, by the way. Just 2 electrical wires that lead to nowhere and continuously output sparks. I'm not an electrician, but that doesn't seem to be up to code. With the elevator moving again, we are returned to the vault entrance. From here, we can return to Ops for our next story beat.
Okay, Sam, take a breath. I'll open the link.
Dr. Everett?
We got it.
Well done.
Not me. It was all Sam.
But the behavioral project was your work, your time, your expertise. I spoke to Mills. You'll be paid in full. Consider it a retainer.
Wait, you're offering me a job? Where?
Right here, the Lockwood estate. So hurry back. We've got a lot of work to do.
Does that mean...
A helicopter's on the way. Be at the landing pad in 1 hour. You made a difference, Mia. Your work was exceptional. If I never made that clear, well, we'll discuss it when you return.
Some difference. I knew what we were creating here. Sideshows for rich people. Weapons for rich monsters. Way to change the world. You know what would help? If we kept Blue far away from there. If that sample was lost for good. Sunk to the bottom of the North Pacific. That would make a difference. They want Blue? Mills can gamble his own life. Have his own plane attacked by... Shit. The Pteranodons. They'll wreck the chopper. We gotta do something. Scare them, distract them, or... lure them. That's it. The monorail. Pteranodons are territorial. We can lure them with the train. But we need power. Go to the breaker room. Activate the station.
Monorail! I hope she was kidding about throwing the Blue sample away. That's a one-way trip for being sued into slavery. Hell, it might count as a federal crime. I really hope our characters are too smart to do that. Right? Lucky for us, they dropped the idea of making Wu a mustache-twirling villain in Dominion. So suddenly, Wu is much more agreeable. The pterosaurs are something we need to take care of, though. Legit, nothing questionable about that objective. What is questionable is how we're going to get the monorail up and running. First is to flip the final breaker.
The center's running on a single generator. This switch will transfer every kilowatt to the monorail and shut down residents in the labs. Once it's pulled, there's no going back.
She ain't kidding, by the way. We are heading into the home stretch, and pulling this switch will lock out all irrelevant sections of the building. When truly ready, pull the switch and head on out to transport.
Ready? That's it. I gotta get out of here. I'll take the service tunnel to Behavioral. I'll meet you at the helipad. Get to the station. Start that train.
A little bit in, and Mia will give you a heads up.
Hold up. I just remembered the main entrance was demolished. You'll have to take a detour through the trash stack. Sorry, the recycling yard. It's kinda exposed, but you're not far.
Fair enough. It's easier to get to. Head to the Pteranodon door. If you loop around to the other side of the office, there will be the supply door. If you haven't already opened it, the supply room door has been smashed in by the Raptors, giving you a straight shot to the recycling center. After playing around with some live wires, it becomes clear that this area is a bit more wrecked than previous locations. It doesn't help that we have company.
What the? Maybe let's, not go outside. Slowly.
To get past some closed-off rooms, we need to pass over this... Okay, let's call it what it is. An obvious trap.
Sam, wait!
Oh, you can't tease me like that! All jokes aside, you really do have to stay as still as possible for this part. One big flaw with that, the Quest 3 has really poor hand tracking, and if a hand is out of view of a headset, there is a very high chance he'll start to float away. Plenty of my VR game footage will show this. So, pro tip, if you are having problems staying still and don't know why, raise your hands to where you can see them both. It makes the headset continuously track them while facing the wrecks. Rexy will move on after a few moments, but she doesn't go far. Mia fills Sam in on the Rexy rules while we duck into the warehouse. Unsurprisingly, there's a bunch of collapsed piles blocking the way. We could easily climb over it. It's mostly cardboard boxes after all. But Sam has weak upper body strength, so he'd rather climb through and underneath machinery to get to the door. Sam is a knees-only kind of person. Speaking of, we do a similar kind of dumb in the very next room. Do we hop over this easy-to-climb stationary conveyor belt to use the staff door? Or do we go back outside where Rexy is in plain view and piss her off with turning on the machinery?
Shit, this was a bad idea. Just keep still.
Again, what we're supposed to do is stay perfectly still, then slip away when Rexy isn't looking, this time into a small vent a few feet away. This vent leads us to another area where Rexy can get us. Unlike the previous section, Rexy never looks away from the general area here. There are two machines on either side of the room. These will direct her attention. What you need to do is open up the sorting belts in the center of the room. Stay calm as the alarm goes off right in front of you. Hide under the grate as you pass by under Rexy, wait until the far recycling distracts her, and then bolt for the door. Keep in mind that crouching makes no difference on whether Rexy sees you or not. Staying calm and motionless is your only valid option when Rexy looks your way. The next room has a similar setup, only the button to open the belt grate puts you right into view with Rexy. That, and if you are crouching or otherwise too slow in your final stretch for the door, a scanner alarm will go off, and Rexy will give you a death screen from a distance. But a vast majority of players will be moving so fast they won't even notice that this could happen. Finally safe in the inner rooms, you can take a breather here.
No more conveyors. Almost there. Just need to cross the yard.
When ready, head through the halls for a neat cutscene.
Just through the office and then... Look out!
The break through the glass is a neat effect in 3D. Despite that little incident and the continuous sounds outside, it seems that interior rooms are clear of danger. There aren't even any raptors here. Aren't you glad we took the outside rooms to get here instead of hopping a waist-high immobile conveyor belt to use these rooms earlier? Vor fans don't answer. Don't ever answer. Well, now that everything is going nice and smooth, I don't see anything wrong with approaching this suspicious terminal facing closed shutters and safety railing.
Don't move. Reinsert the key. Slowly. Reach over.
Whoops. Make sure your hand snaps into place, or it won't count as pressing the key back down.
And activate.
While Rexy is distracted, we bolt across the yard and reach the elevator to station access. Let's take a quick peek at the death scenes. In the rare case you do die, the world will pause before the teeth really reach your face. This stops a lot of potential jank, such as clipping through the camera. It'll also give you a second to look around, so if a raptor jumps you off screen, you can look around and see. After a brief moment, the camera will fade to black and then fade into the death screen. This is a nice little space, with a small walking area, some ruins, and a still model of whatever killed you. The pose is the same for all creatures of the same species, and the Dilophosaurs in a later enemy will have the same skin regardless of which individual killed you. This is a little disappointing, as it would be nice to get a closer look at the alternative skins of these creatures like the Raptors, whose model's texture will update to reflect which one killed you. The model will even reflect a major story beat should you die at that point, but spoilers. I do want to comment that the Rex model looks really doofy in this screen. I can't tell if the model is modified or just at a weird angle, but the end result is Rexy looking like one of those The Dog and Friends greeting cards from the early 2000s. Those ones where they look down at a dog with a fisheye lens to give it a bobblehead look. But now, with an angry Rex mid-bite. Oh my god, they're still around. Now that we've reached the metro station, our goal is to get to the train itself. According to the comms, we have roughly 30 minutes, but the timer for this part of the game is both false and wildly inaccurate, so take all the time you need. Not only are there hiding lockers here, indicating the Raptors are also here, but we are introduced to a new element to the stealth mechanics.
That glass. Move slowly.
Stepping on glass will attract the Raptors past this point. This introduction suggests moving slowly over glass will spare you their summons, but that will quickly prove untrue. Oh, and the compies are back. We are presented with an interesting room, one that we'll return to a couple times. It's a small cafeteria area of sorts that was abandoned half-finished. Hiding spots are scarce in this area, and there are large stretches of broken glass. If you step on the glass, no matter how slow, it will summon the Raptor in full hunt mode. Even if you use the speakers to distract the Raptor, they will remain in hunt mode. To make matters worse, the Raptors now have a dangerous new skill. They will now check under hiding spots. Le gasp! Crazy, I know. Now, when they do the animation where they check under a desk or into a vent, they will actually see you. This part in particular will be the case for the rest of the game. Holy shit, finally! This is the difficulty the stealth should have been for most of the game. This is actually fun and tense and not unbearably slow. This shouldn't have been saved for the final stretch of the game. This should have been the difficulty of the 4th or 5th stealth area up until the final stretch. It is such an upgrade on the previous sections. Where the hell was this degree of level design the whole game? Our goal for this challenge is to navigate our way to the various power plugs in the area and switch them out. This will slam a nearby shutter, attracting the Raptor to you. Once all the power is redirected, the shutter to the staff-only halls will open, providing you with an escape via a vent in the cleaning supplies room. We reach the station platform, but oh no! Where's the train? Heading back into the staff rooms, we can access the control terminal for the train. Reading the diagnostic report, we need to repair it. First, we need to enter the security room and grab a key card for the area.
Okay, now, downstairs. You want to find service access.
Okay, next we need to head down to the train. Service access is right in front of you when you return to the hall. Can't miss it. Things are surprisingly dark in the lower levels. The service tunnel door is even using the emergency red lights. Funny, because the regular lights in the tunnel itself work fine.
Is there a more analog route?
I retract my previous statement. Returning to the darkness, we are once again dependent on our flashlight. While we are not quite in pitch black darkness, it is still dark enough that the occasional fluttering of our light threatens to leave us stranded. Listening around us, we are not alone as we navigate the maintenance tunnels. But in an act of mercy, nothing attacks us. As we reach another blast door, you might notice the couple hiding places in the room, along with a few plugs to open a shutter door. Despite the sign suggesting a Raptor will jump us, we are allowed to move on in peace. At least the first time. After connecting a second power source and hitting the blast door switch, we are greeted with
Just keep going.
nothing? Yeah, even as we enter the blast door and are left to the mercy of the dark tunnels, we aren't attacked by anything. It's dark and spooky, and the area creates a wonderful sense of dread, and all of it leads to nothing. Nothing at all. Unless you're afraid of rat silhouettes. Holy shit, the missed potential of this room. Unless you are afraid of the dark for the sake of the darkness itself, this room is a tense build-up with no payoff. Whatever. At the end is the service station.
Yes, the train. Finally. Run the diagnostic.
Mia, I feel this is probably out of Sam's wheelhouse. Oh well. We have unlimited time to clear out the train's underside of roots, rebuild the pressure in the hydraulics, open and match the power regulators, and replace what I think are a few fuses. None of this is anywhere close to difficult, and despite what the radio says, we are not being timed. Using the different exits under the train, we can travel to the near back of the maintenance tunnel on alternating sides, which is a fun way to break up the room. Once everything is ready to go, we unlock the head car and go for a ride.
No. You bastard battery! Do not be dead. The management office downstairs. Run!
Or not. 1 second. Be right back. Oh look! Hiding lockers. Using the vent, we enter yet another Raptor hiding section, whose difficulty should have been the case long before now. Similar to the previous section, the area is filled with strips of broken glass, which will summon the Raptors. We have double desks we can safely hide under, but now there are compies around to sound the alarm if we get too near. This combo of glass and screamy compies continues for several rooms, including one that successfully made me panic and make a dumb decision because of it. Yes! That's what this game should be doing to me! Why did it take so long to get here? That room I freaked out in has our goal, by the way. Going up to one of the wall mounts, which requires shooing away a compy without making it scream, we charge up a new battery.
Gently give it some charge. Great. Grab it and let's get the hell out.
As we leave, the Raptors get the brilliant idea of summoning themselves. The safe spots in the next rooms are traps though, and a handful of particularly sensitive compies patrol the place. Remember, the Raptors will now check under the desk. The moment you get the opportunity, open the vent shutter and bail. We loop back to the train, right as the chopper gets sight of the pterosaurs. Out of time, we do a dumb and start the train with us still in it.
Faster, come on. Move!
Oh, hey! With us still inside the train, we only sent it to the main station. Even then, the pterosaurs in the area are pissed off and have decided to drop their status as a passive mob. As we try to leave the train, several toothy pterodons will reach in the doors and windows to try and get a jab at us. Keeping distance isn't hard at first. A duck here, a wall hug there. But as soon as we get closer to an unblocked exit, we'll have to start timing our passing of 1 up to 3 angry flying reptiles. You even have to taunt a few to get your window of movement to open. Reaching the back end of the train, we sound a horn to get the pterosaurs off us long enough to get back to the remote control panel.
Okay, upstairs, the control booth. Run!
In the most realistic thing yet in this game, the control panel throws up an error message.
Error? Are you shitting me? The override, on the right. No time. Just rip it out.
Mia, that would just stop the panel from turning on entirely.
Now, launch it.
Well, I guess this is a video game.
Come on, yes. Move. Yes. Yeah! Get the hell out! The chopper. Come on, Golf Niner. I know you're still there. Say something. Say something. Say something.
NMS Tower, this is helicopter Golf Echo 9er. I'm at 200 feet over Main Street. Unknown animals have dispersed. Taking north route to the LZ. 5 minutes to landing. Repeat, 5 minutes.
Okay. Okay, I'm in the behavioral labs near the pens. I'm close by. Get to the helipad. I'll be right there. There's just one thing I gotta do first. And Sam? Hey. What a night.
You're buying the drinks after this. You owe Sam way more than you're paying him. With things looking up, we start the trek to the helicopter pad, the door of which we actually passed by earlier. Head back through the food court and exit through the shortcut to the corporate suites. And when I say shortcut, I mean the intended entrance, as we get sight of a nice and surprisingly realistic logo fixture. The rest of the lobby is nice too, and I firmly believe Sam is an idiot for not looting the whole place from the beginning. We make our way past reception and enter a very questionable security checkpoint.
Scanning in progress.
Okay, I'm in main observation. Where are you? Oh, shit. That's real security.
Please stand by.
Don't panic. Don't panic, okay? I can fix this. Just hold on. Okay, you're clear. You heard that sound? They're coming back to the lab where they belong.
Oh, thanks. You should probably go hide somewhere. I could swoop by and pick you up on the way.
I'm gonna open these ethane tanks. I found a busted security panel.
Oh, wait, what are you doing, Mia?
In a few minutes, it'll spark and turn this lair into a crater, along with all three. And once we're clear of this island, you and I are gonna destroy that sample. We don't let them have it. We don't make it easy. This was always a rescue, but not for Blue, not for my research. For that girl from Montana. She's finally coming home, thanks to you.
No! No, Mia, you dumb bitch. That's a beyond stupid idea. The whole building is probably connected to that gas line, and you'd blow up not just both of us, but the helicopter as well. Not only that, but you want to toss the blue sample? Why? Because she has the genetic possibility of parthenogenesis, even though the other dinosaurs are already freely breeding? You said so yourself that there was nothing else to set her apart genetically. You want to toss the sample, costing yourself a probably much-needed career opportunity, Sam a potential payment, and setting both of you up to be sued and/or prosecuted into jail or lifelong debt? Mia, I knew you were unacceptably childish, but now you're huffing paint fumes. Because I can't imagine you being this stupid otherwise. Can we remotely lock her in a closet until we get to her? For everyone's sake, she needs to be detained. After all, we don't even get through the suites before she does something stupid.
Hey, girls. Welcome back.
Elevated oxygen levels in asset containment.
That's my cue. Sam, I can't make up for what I caused. I guess we don't have the luxury of knowing where our every decision will lead. The one thing I do know for certain...
Offline.
What? No, come on. It's my key card, it won't work. Come on.
Welcome to observation A. Rebooting.
Sam.
5.
One last favor.
3, 2, 1.
Survive.
Dumb bitch, it's not a heroic sacrifice if you make everything worse. Sam has survived, but just barely. He definitely needs medical assistance for a concussion now at the very least. We appear to be in a lower maintenance tunnel. There's no clear access to the elevator that was right in front of us, or any other immediate way up. Our only real chance is to wander these lower tunnels and hope we find a way back up in time. The helicopter has survived as well, but it's only sticking around for a little bit longer. To make matters worse, we're not alone down here. Silver's down here too, and our only boon is that she is involuntarily bioluminescent. Yeah, I kinda skipped over this earlier, but Mia briefly points out that Silver specifically was given bioluminescence to be more appealing to the guests. This isn't out of the question, as some of the dinosaurs along the park's river experience has luminescence as well. A funny thing I noticed was that in the store screenshots and single-release version of Chapter 1, all 3 Raptors have a light glow on their patterns that's missing from my version. It makes me suspect that this was one of those design ideas they originally had to cut down, but were able to expand due to the plague buying Chapter 2 more production time. I definitely like this better as it adds a surprisingly unique final section to this game that ties up the Raptor story much better than a counterproductive explosion. Returning to the game, our flashlight is failing, and we don't want to use it too much anyway, as Silver can see it just fine. a room with several low hiding spots. None of these will protect us if seen. Silver will enter the area shortly after us and will continue to patrol the area for a couple minutes. Eventually, she'll leave into the tunnels, but she'll be back very quickly, and you'll easily become stranded without a hiding spot. At least in death, we get to freely and safely check out her model in the light, revealing extensive burns along her side. Ever since Jaws 2, I've been a firm believer that burns are an easy way to upgrade an antagonistic creature's design. Our goal in this room is to power up the shutters blocking the exit. The device itself is the same we've seen all game. However, the window to power it up safely is shorter than any previous section. Getting through, Silver is still stalking us down here. There are plenty of hiding spots marked with yellow lights to hide in, but Silver's appearance in the room is abrupt and is likely to take an absent-minded player off guard. A vent will eventually provide escape, but our flashlight is dying down to a faint flickering. It even fakes us out as we enter another patrol room. This room is much larger than the previous one, with multiple floors and massive blind spots depending on where you are hiding. Here, you'll be heavily dependent on your spatial hearing, and the brief windows of safety where Silver leaves the room need to be used wisely. Our goal here is to connect the power cords leading from one side of the room to the other. Naturally, all the connection points we need to deal with are smack dab in the open. This particular room recreates the game's previous problem of making the player wait too long in hiding spots. Before, though, this was from the stealth being too easy, where here it's from our elevated challenge, so I'm much more willing to forgive it here. Once we get everything plugged in, the exit will open and then close right behind us. We finally reach some stairs, but the integrity of the building is definitely in question as it creaks behind us. Speaking of, our flashlight finally dies, but with an exit elevator just in view. In the false safety of the faint light, we raise the lever to send us back up. Oh shit! We are released from the elevator back on the upper floors. Conveniently, we are just within the helipad lobby. From the secretary desk, complete with security button, it seems this was a secondary way for investors to reach the center. And, sure enough, right there on the helipad. Entering the helicopter, the pilot on the radio is friendly enough, but he won't lift off without us placing the blue sample in the designated space.
Dispatch, reporting an update. Golf Echo 9er will return with only one passenger. Seems, the second won't be joining us. Dispatch, vital cargo is secured, ready to depart.
If you wait at the open door for Mia, she won't come. You can see the smoke billowing from the building, and if we weren't in the lower floors, Sam would have likely had to worry about it on the way out. True to the game's word, Mia is dead, and stays dead. I mean, kudos. Not because I disliked Mia, but because I was fully expecting a Disney fake-out death, and for Mia to show up last minute. Or at least I would have if this game was willing to show human models. The way the game's intro was handled made it clear that it was unwilling to have human character models walking about. Maybe because of the style? I don't know. If you stay at the open helicopter doors long enough, the game basically tells you that Mia isn't coming out in some secret ending or anything like that.
Roger, dispatch. Hey, they're not coming. Sorry. We gotta leave. Close the door.
Alright, when ready, shut the helicopter doors.
T's and P's are green, skies are clear. Ascending to 1800 and departing out the northwest route. Hey, back there. Look, I'm sorry about your friend. Whatever you found, I hope it was worth it.
It was right then I knew I wanted to be a genetic engineer. Knowing that a life, even an unremarkable one, can leave an impression, inspire hope. This was always a rescue. She's finally coming home. We don't have the luxury of knowing where our decisions will lead. But do me a favor. Destroy that sample. Send it to the bottom of the North Pacific. Don't let them have it. Don't make it easy.
No. Sorry, but now that Mia is dead, this sample is the only way Sam is getting paid. And I've already mentioned the multitude of other reasons not to toss it. Hell, we aren't even safe yet, and no one knows we're out here. What's to stop the pilot from just tossing us out too? Or at the very least, stranding us on a passing island? But the game won't continue until we toss the sample. Even our objective UI, which, by the way, has a very neat glitchy effect due to being damaged by the explosion, says we have to toss it. So, Sam, I hope you were paid in advance.
And live. For that girl in Montana. Make a difference.
You know what would make living easier? Being able to afford food. And that was Jurassic World Aftermath. Quick look at the music and sound design. True music is few and far between in this game, but what we do have is fairly solid. The main theme in particular is very serious and melancholic, with sinister undertones growing as the song goes on. It's surprisingly perfect for the game's initial premise, and it's nice to hear a more fearful take on Jurassic Park adjacent music that doesn't just drag itself to a halt like the Jurassic World theme, which itself is just a modern trailerified take on the park theme. Due to the lack of music in-game, most of this video will probably use Jurassic Park music from other games, so for reference, here's the main theme for Aftermath. As for the sound design, it's nothing short of excellent. When most of the game has no background music, the background sounds have to be on point, and this game nails it. Special shout out to the ominous feel that builds as you stare at a door you need to go through. Unsurprisingly, the dinosaurs use the same sounds as their movie counterparts, which is good for a Jurassic Park game. Also notably is how well the 3D audio is handled in this game. It helps it's in VR, but the handling of things like footsteps is so accurate spatially that you can track the exact location of the raptors just by listening closely. So, considering how much you run around the place and hide inside crevices as overgrown lizard chickens sneeze in your face, a big question will inevitably pop into your head. Is there any reason to explore around beyond the linear path? Well, I'm happy to say, yes. There is a type of collectible item in this game. Throughout the levels, there will be many emails detailing found items or gifts purchased for loved ones. These emails are clues for the locations of 6 different prehistoric animal plushies. If the player grabs these items, they will appear in the side room of operations on this shelf. If you know exactly where to look, you can pick up 3 plushies in Chapter 1 and the last 3 in Chapter 2. None of the plushies are in areas that lock off after a single visit. If you go to this keypad in Transport and type 1870, which the Pteranodon statue incorrectly cites as the year Pteranodon was discovered, it was 1871. Then you can press a button to open up the nearby supply room and grab the Brachiosaurus plush. You can open this room early enough that the Raptors aren't even introduced yet, but if you miss it entirely, the Raptors break the door open in Chapter 2.
Looks like a plushie? One man's trash, I guess.
If you read all the emails in Residential, you'll read about a couple housed in 2 separate rooms. One room's computer has a key code, and the other has a keypad safe. Finding the code and using it on the safe will reveal a Triceratops plush that is apparently named Blinky.
Not much use to us, but I'm sure it'll look great on a shelf.
Finally, in Chapter 1, there is a locker at head height in the back of the locker room in the Creation Labs on the wall. A plushie Dilophosaur is openly visible in it.
I mean, it's kinda cute, I guess.
In Chapter 2, a previously sealed door behind the desk right before you enter the Geothermal Plant is unexplainably busted open, revealing a Mosasaur plush basking under the moonlight. Just as you enter the Behavioral Labs level, right in front of the exit-only door, sitting on the boxes is an Ankylosaur plushie vaguely resembling Bumpy. And finally, if you visit the staff residential rooms in Chapter 2, a previously inaccessible door now has the shape matching minigame. Opening it reveals a little Pteranodon plush sitting on the bed. For some reason, I had a lot of trouble physically picking this one up, but it's worth it to complete the collection. Once collected, you can pick up the plush in the ops room, squish it, and carry it around anywhere you want in the ops and breaker room. You can't get past the level loading door, and if you drop the plush, it will immediately teleport back to its place on the shelf. This wasn't necessary, but it's a nice set of Easter eggs and a fun secondary goal. Speaking of unlockables, there's a dinosaur gallery. As you finish the associated scenes, the dinosaurs will be unlocked here for your viewing pleasure. They are all stuck in their idle loops and can be approached safely without their interaction. While we do get a good view of the albino compy, all 3 raptors, and Silver's post-explosion textures, there isn't any way to view the alternate skins of the Dilophosaurs or pterosaurs. That's a little disappointing because those variants are also missing from the death screens, meaning there is no way to get a good look at them. Still, what we do get is great. What isn't great is that this gallery is directly tied to your save file, and is completely relocked if you start a new game. And that's the only way to return to normal gameplay, as pressing continue just puts you back in the helicopter ending. So, if you play this game more than once, make sure your repeat playthroughs are on a separate save slot. Same goes for your collected plushies, by the way. So, once you leave the ops room that last time, you can no longer view them. Funny enough, due to this and how late the Tyrannosaurus is unlocked, there is no legit way to have a fully unlocked dinosaur gallery and all plushies collected and viewable. So I guess you need one save slot to unlock the gallery, one to have a full plushie collection, and a final save slot to freely replay the story. I'll admit I'm having a hard time settling my opinion of this game. I don't regret playing it, but a vast majority of the game is surprisingly boring and held back by itself. That said though, that last section from when we leave the operations for the last time onwards is genuinely good, with a lot of neat ideas and varied gameplay. But you have to play through so much mediocrity to get there too. It's a bit frustrating because I want to like this game. A dinosaur VR game? That's practically a mating call to me. But the end result is such a mixed bag. I guess if you've gotten this far and want to play it yourself, go right ahead. After all, the 2D video you're watching right now can't compare to VR. But if you're hesitating at all on getting this, then save your time and money. It's nice to see a proper VR dinosaur game. But if you're looking for the VR dinosaur game, this isn't it. I would recommend Robinson over this game to any dinosaur fan. The gameplay is very different, but the experience of being near these creatures is incomparably superior in Robinson. I got a couple videos on it, and it's free prequels on this very channel if you're interested. If you still want to play the games I've covered in this video, I'll still point you in the right direction. For the movie experiences I covered first, you'll need an Oculus branded headset, preferably a Quest series. Then you just need to claim the free app from the store. I'd recommend getting the dedicated 2024 app, but I think a version of the videos are on the Felix and Paul app as well. If you don't have a headset and don't mind the loss of 3D, there are 360 video recordings of the movies on YouTube. While Aftermath was developed specifically for Oculus Quest, shortly after its full collection release, it was ported to PlayStation 5 VR and the Nintendo Switch. Yeah, apparently a non-VR version was made for the original Switch. I don't need to play it to recommend against it though, as the handful of things I liked about Aftermath would be lost outside of VR, not to mention the removal of what little scare factor is left. I guess it's good for game preservation though, and if you are absolutely dying to play it, but for whatever reason can't play VR, then there you go. Have fun. And of course, if you're interested, I did full Let's Plays of both these apps on my Let's Play channel. The Aftermath playthrough in particular was blind, so if you want my raw reactions and unrefined opinions, feel free to check those out. I, had a lot to say.
Pick it up, throw Blue's DNA into the ocean. You did what?
And, I think that's about it. I know I haven't been updating much on this channel, but after failing to finish last year's Halloween review in time, I decided it was best I stop and focus on building up a backlog on both my channels, so y'all will have more consistent and higher quality uploads in the future. That in mind, this review was not part of that plan. I found out about Jurassic World Rebirth and figured this might be my last chance to ride a search term wave, which is something I've never successfully done, so hey, you get an early review out of it. I was originally planning to hold off on this review until I covered all the prior Jurassic Park media, which is the plan for most, but not all, of the Jurassic Park games I have on the list. I got some real obscure and forgotten ones for y'all, but we'll get there when we get there. There's probably gonna be a couple more months before my reviews start up proper again. Halloween's video is done, and I'll start September's shortly after this. But after that, I want to lock in on the December video, which will be on a particularly long game. So I think it's safe to say that looping back for any videos before September is not on the table. At the end of the day, I'm only one person, so I am extremely grateful for y'all's continued support and patience. I feel the end result will be worth it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go now and continue my search for the dinosaur VR game. Bye!
How can we be expected to teach children to learn how to read if they can't even fit inside the building?